So I told Eggman I was a genie. He totally bought it.
The beginning of Sonic Adventure 2 was kind of weird now that I think about it. Why did I do that?
Seemed like a good idea at the time. And without context provided, we are back to Missing Stars. If you haven't seen it, we are on part 3 of our journey into St. Dymphna's school, and us learning about our place within its hallowed halls. Hours later, I'm holed up in my dorm room, buried in physics equations. It's okay, none of them work, so it doesn't matter if you get it wrong.
That's a thing. I saw a joke about, physicists spend their entire lives only to learn that, they don't know where 95% of the universe is. At which point a physicist then proceeds to complain, well, no one else does either. And it's like, yeah, well...
Could be that your model's wrong, but that would, involve you guys actually owning up to that.
I was going to say, it's like, here's the thing, though. Any other science doesn't go, yes, but our information, our numbers we're getting are wrong. So let's add in, dark numbers to mathematics. Or let's add dark rock to geology. Or let's add, dark fish to biology, like marine biology.
Dark fish probably exist. The ocean is a terrifying place.
Dark fish.
The dark fish, my god.
Meanwhile, Subnautica devs are like, write that down.
That's good. It's amazing how fast this stuff piles up. 2 nights ago, I was wondering how I'd ever pass the time. Here's my answer, I guess. I scratched the last answer down the bottom of the notebook page and sit back in the chair. 45. It's wrong. It's definitely wrong, but it's also the last problem of the night, and I can't convince myself to work the numbers again. I closed the notebook with a satisfying thump, happy enough to be done with the work, compromise or no. Coasting through material like this probably shouldn't be so easy, but being the new kid surely gives me some leeway. Surely. It doesn't, and don't call me Shirley.
Classic.
Just wanted to let you know. Good luck. We're counting on you. Class the next day is rather
Jimmy was like, what are they talking about?
One of the best movies ever made, Jimmy. Class the next day is rather uneventful. Most periods are taken up by lecture time except for a small class discussion in philosophy. Oh, good. Itaku will be in its element here. I'm awake through all of
them. Oh, yes. What? Why?
But why?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Depends on what you mean by
an
why.
Interesting question you pose.
I'm awake through all of them.
Oh, so you're questioning me then.
It depends on what you mean by questioning. That's a complicated, man.
Super Saiyan Dragon Jordan Peterson, no.
Slept better last night. Still woke up early and didn't watch the sunrise with any pretty girls, but I still think it's an improvement. At the very least, let's call it an even trade.
That's very ambitious there.
I know, right?
My guy.
The last equation. Don't be afraid to give the wrong answer. I expect it gave you all some trouble. This latest question nudges me back into the present. I've been absent-mindedly ticking off the problems as we go, and even if I got them right, I wasn't listening closely enough to know why I got them right. No one's jumping to answer this last question, though. Anyone? Silence is killing me. I raise my hand. I got 45? 45 newtons, that's correct. Did anyone else find the same answer? And a couple other hands go up. One of them belongs to Ella, who glances in my direction with a proud smile. Class breaks for lunch. A small crowd forming around the doorway as my fellow students rush for the exit. I take my time packing my bag, not wanting to shove my way through before a voice pulls my attention from the door. I see you're adjusting well? Ella bounds over, having only just finished stowing her own books, standing in my peripheral vision with hands neatly clasped behind her back. Thanks, it's been going better than I thought it would. I'm glad to hear it, and to see you answering tough questions like that shows great initiative in your studies. Does it? It's more of a guess than anything. An educated guess, don't sell yourself short. She punctuates the words with a little flourish, far prouder of my accomplishments than I am. Sorry, just trying to be humble. That way when I suck, no one will be surprised. Ella's good cheer seems to sour a little, but she falls into step with me as I zip my bag regardless. Besides, you raised your hand, didn't you? Don't see you bragging. Yes, but I've been in this class since the start of the semester. It's not unusual for transfer students to come here with a few holes in their studies. That's not to say they aren't intelligent, but every school has a different curriculum after all, so I'm always a little worried. That makes 2 of us. We follow our classmates as they file into the hallway, joining the river of students on their way to lunch. For all its concessions and planning, the cafeteria has still ordered chaos, and Ella wastes no time scouting out a location for us. Can't help but feel out of place, watching the other students all file to their routine seats, while I stand to the side, awkwardly holding a tray of sandwiches. Sandwiches might be the only constant in my life right now. Fortunately, Ella waves me over from a table, sitting alone at a comfortable distance from all the established cliques. Her lunch is a picturesque assortment of items, and I can't shake the feeling that she's chosen it specifically to meet, but not exceed, all her nutritional needs. Trying to think about what my selection says about me as I sit across from Ella. Thanks, I was just going to eat alone. I'm not sure who I would be sitting with yet. Don't want to impose, you know. Miss Clay's advice on social pressure seemed a little too direct to be dismissed out of hand. Of course, it's definitely good to give people space, but you're a new student. Most of us are more than happy to get to know you. I'm sure you'll fit right in. With your uniform on, sometimes I forget you've only just gotten here. She points at the jacket, which reminds me just how weird I feel in this outfit. You know, I thought it'd be best if I started dressing like the locals. Ella lets out a polite laugh and leans over to straighten out my collar. It looks good on you. Really? To her credit, Ella is quick to change the subject. What do you think of our teachers? Miss Clace isn't too bad. I heard they seem nice, and, Mr. Kohler, I guess he's okay. Every second I fumble around looking for names, the smile on Ella's face gets wider. Okay, I get it. Too early for that question. We'll get a better feel for them after a few days. A lot of people aren't too fond of Miss Clace, I'll admit. I think it's because she's kind of strict about the rules. Just be sure not to get on her bad side, and you'll be fine. Don't get on her bad side. She's one of the kind of general advice that would apply to just about anyone, though. Got it. She nods, turning to her lunch again. Made any friends yet? Friend comes to mind first. That's a terrifying thought. It's also Natalia and Katya seem pleasant. I might even consider Jeanne a friend, though right now our only shared experience involves a nosebleed. Well, she seemed to enjoy your company. I think you're selling yourself a bit short there, hero. What's on your mind? How are you holding up? Come on, you must have a ton more questions. Hit me. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Let's save. Like to meet people, maybe join a club. I'm worried I might fall behind. It's a little overwhelming. I think these are all kind of like genuine responses. I don't feel like any of these are disingenuous in any way.
What you need to do is clearly you need to do, people who are, I'm sorry. I am trying to read and also explain things to you at the same time. That is a bad, bad situation.
Right.
You need to do, I'd like to meet, new people and join the club.
All right, that is good. That'd be a solid start. Now you mention it.
Are we joining the, are we going to join the newspaper club?
He expressed interest in that, and then, like, it seems like we're just going to join the next meeting and kind of feel out, like, what we're thinking on it. Now that you mention it, let's get to know more people around here. Get to know being the key phrase, not just meet. Preferably without injuring them. Guess I'm kind of interested in joining a club, maybe? Ella's eyes light up, immediately shoving her plate to one side to make room for her backpack. Well, there's a lot to choose from. Chess club, newspaper club, book club, art club. A lot of smaller ones, too. I couldn't possibly remember all of them off the top of my head. Here, hang on a sec. Catch a glimpse of the neatly organized folders and several binders of color-coded notebooks, each with its own array of divider tabs. It's the purple one that she pulls out and flips through until she's found whatever it is she's looking for. Here. The notebook is simply labeled clubs, but even a cursory glance shows dozens of tabs, presumably one for each. The list of organizations is staggering. I don't know where to begin. This is all the officially recognized clubs anyway, so it's a place to start. Wow, this is too much? You could say that. Not as bad as it looks. You can narrow it down a little too. What are you interested in? History's the first thing that comes to mind, but history clubs seem to be a little stuffy, to say the least. Hiking is probably off the table for the time being. I'm not sure. There's always a newspaper club since you're new here. It'd be a great way to get a feel for the school, but it's also a pretty daunting job, since you're new here. I've been down there already, actually. It was, interesting. So you've run into Lena already, huh? Don't let her scare you off. She's not as bad as she looks. Uh-huh. Really? You should give it another shot. Besides, get to hang out with Hertha. This week, I mean. I'll think about it. I don't know what sort of help I can be to the school newspaper if I know nothing about the school. Still, it's worth a shot. There's plenty of time to look at the other clubs, too. I have their meeting times noted down here, too. Sure enough, there are room numbers and meeting times printed down the right side of the sheet of paper I'm still holding in my hand. Guess I'll probably take a look. Great, if you do, just don't let them scare you away, okay? You already said that. Of course, you're right, don't worry about it. Fairly worried about it now. Let me know how it goes. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask. Ella rushes through the rest of her food before neatly tucking her myriad folders back into her bag. Gotta go, see you around, Eric. I give her a little wave, my mouth occupied with the sandwich as Ella heads off. I'm about to finish my lunch alone, but at least I've got something to think about. My afternoon philosophy class doesn't make for an exhilarating follow-up to lunch. It's difficult to care about the underlying ontology of the world or whatever when I'm still focused on figuring out the school. If only this was a conversationalism 101 or how to fit in a new school after a life-altering injury class, it would be a hell of a lot more useful than Descartes' and meditations. Now that's over, though. What to do with the rest of my day is in my hands. My only obligation is to meet with Dr. Faber, and that leaves me a bunch of unblocked hours. More out of the deep-seated instinct than anything, I decided to head out in the school grounds. A bit of fresh air is sure to help. It's a gentle breeze when I step outside, and I take a deep, satisfying breath. Somatic disorder aside, at least I'm an outdoors person. There's one conversation Faber and I won't have to have. You should try spending some time outside. It's good for your health. Well, I've got some pretty good news for you, Doc. Taking care of myself already. Good job, Eric. I continue meandering aimlessly as much as I have to limit my pace. I've wanted more time to appreciate the view. Most people are still in their classes, but I can see a few students lounging about. I take note of the more comfortable spots beneath trees and next to bushes for later. Thinking ahead like this is helping me feel more in control of things. Down one of the paths I noticed the school chapel. It's framed by a set of bright flower beds and exudes a comforting, protective aura. Katja did mention singing in the chapel. It was a comment almost in passing, but it would be worth stopping by to see if she's there. I've only heard her humming, and even that was impressive. I can only imagine what her full singing voice sounds like. Even if she isn't there, I'll get to admire the chapel itself. Seems like a win-win. It's pretty up close. It's not that it rouses an appreciation of divinity or something. I've never had strong feelings there. But the architecture is admirable for its own sake. Oh, Eric, do I have good news for you? I have an entire Snek sermons playlist you could peruse. You might learn a thing or two. More than anything, it's imposing. I guess the intent is to humble visitors. My part is doing a decent job of that. Is that a distant sound of singing I hear? Guess I came at the right time to catch Katja. I step up to the entrance and the voice grows and clarifies. I can't make out most of the details through the muffling wall between us, but even from here I can tell. She's good. I guess I'm in for a treat. With my breath half held, I press on the doors and step through. It's even more impressive from the outside. It isn't huge, like I'd expect from a full-fledged cathedral or church, but I don't think it's nearly so big as it feels. The steep windows and vaulted ceiling are cavernous, and even with full attendance, I think the hall would look larger than life. Despite that, Katja's voice is filling the whole space vividly. The acoustics are disorienting, to be honest. My eyes automatically scan all the walls first, even though I know Katja can't be there. The noise pulls my gaze in every other direction before I finally look up to the open space at the front. Ah, there she is. I spot her in front of the altar, dwarfed by the far wall. She looks so focused and completely present in the song. I also wouldn't have expected so big a voice from her. I'm sure the chapel interior is amplifying it, but I can feel the sound resonating. If I had to pin a singing voice to Katja, this would not have been it. I think she's singing in an unfamiliar language, maybe Latin. Somehow I can tell it's a sad tune all the same. That's probably because the song would be playing in a minor chord. Generally speaking, most cultures associate major chords with more upbeat, optimistic songs, and minor chords for the more melancholic songs. Even a scrub like me.
I didn't know that.
Yep, that is some random music trivia I've probably picked up just from hanging out with Cog as much as I have. Katja was understanding her passion for this. I assume it takes some skill to get a dilettante like me to feel the emotion in an unfamiliar song. A lot of music can end up being subconscious if you don't know the science behind it, but there is a science to it, nonetheless.
There is, but I mean, honestly, a lot of it really is, it's like cooking. It's, there's science to it, but a lot of it is basically you feel it out, and to be a true master culture, you kind of just do it by, you can't be, in it really would be impossible, I'd argue, to be in the lab and be like, okay, this is, within this particular wavelength that we're going to produce the scientifically perfect song. It's like,
Well, I mean, the
because if you're doing that,
the media is kind of trying to do that, which is why so many modern pop songs sound precisely the same, is because they are literally trying the assembly line method of modern music, which is why
and you
every
are
single
proving my
I'm
point, and I was about to say you lose the soul, the artist, in so doing. And
oh,
exactly,
absolutely.
I would argue this is kind of the reason why you kind of get to about 1990, and then you'll notice, and I'm repeating this for emphasis. Look at all the songs that we use for our for pop culture now. It's not Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's not anything from after about 1990. It's like you hit that point and it's like that's the reason why you're always getting things like, oh, Mr. Blue Sky from Electric Light Orchestra, or like Queen, or those bands that were big in that period.
Yep.
It's because, I mean, there was these were basically the last gasp of these like full auteurs. Not to say that there aren't artists now, but I hate to say this, but like
the 90s happened, and it became cool to suck at your instrument and singing. It became like in to be terrible, because terrible is marketable to the lowest common denominator. Stupid people resonate with stupid music. And this is going to be my hot take for the episode. Everything became so damn formulaic. And people can complain about the early aughts and how terrible that music was, and you're 100% right, but the entire thing was just the logical evolution of how terrible the 90s were. Like, it became popular, especially in the United States. This is not a uniquely American problem, but it is a predominantly American one. Because the industry was like, oh, hey, if we just churn out the same garbage and just have radio stations play the song over and over and over again, people will just decide they like it because it's easy enough to hijack their neural network by just exposing them to the song to the point where they just kind of surrender to it. And then they just start embracing the sheer mediocrity that is modern music as a landscape. And then it leaves me sounding like a glasses-wearing hipster D-bag when I have to explain to these people that no, good rock and metal is still being made. It's just very European and Asian. Not that I'm salty about this at all.
And no, I get it. And here's the thing. It's funny because it's like you basically, in order to get rock, you go to Japan, you go to the Nordic countries. You want good electronic, you go basically to Italy.
Yep.
And you want, rap from someone who apparently has cotton balls in his mouth, you go to America, because Little Guppy and Broccoli Boy apparently are gonna, they'll take care of you. They'll they're what you're looking for, I guess.
Because the recording industry thrives on exaltation of mediocrity. This is why every single pop diva that comes out every other week sounds precisely the same as the ones that preceded them. Because changing the formula risks shaking up status quo, which means they're getting less money from stupid people.
And that's kind of a thing I've noticed too. It's like, I mean, I've always been a weirdo. I've always enjoyed music from, before my era.
Right.
I mean, that's always been a thing. I mean, you can ask, Snek, even when I was very young, I was listening to, music from well before my time.
Hey there, Snek, did you hear about this band called Blue Oyster Cult? And I was like, no, little Titaku, tell me about that. And he was like, it's really cool, you should listen to them. And then I did, and I was like, oh, wow, this is really good.
They sing about wizards and, like, aliens. What's up with these guys? I have no idea.
And so in return, I was like, this is 80s, 90s country music. This is a Toby Keith. And Itaku was like, oh my god, I've never heard of that before.
I mean, I've heard of, okay, to be perfectly honest, my parents listened to, like, older country, like the Highwaymen.
Right.
And certain Garth Brooks. So, yeah, I'm not quite as up on it, and I feel bad because, like, man, we lost him too soon.
That is true facts.
Because, like, you all right, last thing. Last thing.
All right.
Like, last thing. Heart of Hearts. And I'm just like, one of those, like, what could have been. Can you imagine Toby Keith writing songs about the current environment?
That would be interesting.
He would make some bangers, and it would.
I suspect. So I suspect as much.
All right, that's all. All right, let's continue.
Yeah, let's back on track. I take a seat in one of the middle pews and close my eyes. Leaning back and listening gives me some much-needed rest after my classes, though hard corners of the pew dig into my back a little. The song rises and falls, it ebbs and flows, and at some point I stop thinking about it. I don't know how long to expect the song to last, and frankly I'm not in any rush. It's only another 2 or 3 minutes where Katja's voice rings out the final note, though. Katja's voice finally fades, and I can't help but hum in approval. It seems though she's finally noticed I'm in the chapel next to her. Eric, I didn't expect to see you here. I can't tell from her tone whether that's a good or bad thing. You mentioned this yesterday. Seemed like the friendly thing to do. I see. Stepping up to the plate with your best gentlemanly behavior. I might be able to put the lunchtime incident behind us at last. Since she's resumed teasing me, it's safe to say that I didn't just commit a massive social faux pas. Of course, that was definitely my intention. Consider yourself provisionally forgiven, then. I'm provisionally relieved to hear that. She giggles, and I feel some pride in my quip.
Oh, no.
Well, Perry.
Worse. Oh, no.
But now, I'm obliged to ask, what did you think? Of the singing? No, the weather, obviously. I take a moment to compose an honest answer. I thought it was amazing. Katja's smile widens. That's very kind of you. I hope you know there's no need to exaggerate on my account. Well, you're right, I don't need to exaggerate because it's true. How long have you been singing? No longer than I can remember. Tried humming to myself before I spoke a single word. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. You sound like you had a lifetime of experience. I've always had a lifetime of experience, Eric. That's rather my point. It's the length of a lifetime that's been changing. Hello, Dolly. Everyone at home, my kitten says hi. Anyway, there's no need to lavish praise. You can just ask me to sing you another song. She's not wrong. I certainly wouldn't mind hearing more of the in-house music. Well, she interrupts me before I can finish the thought. It's very kind of you to ask, Eric, but that was the last song in my set. Nothing for it as I can't strain my voice. You understand, I'm sure. I have been led on.
Oh.
Of course, that's my loss.
Oh, said Itaku, lowering a sign that says "Sing Freeber."
Indeed, such a pity. She pauses before her next sentence. I'm glad you decided to come, though. I don't usually have an audience, and it helps now and again. I'm glad to be of help. I have my gentleman's reputation to uphold, after all. I think you only uphold things that actually exist. Ouch! There goes my gentleman's honor.
Oh.
Same answer.
Oh.
This is really disincentivizing me from stopping by in the future. Katja freezes up at my comment. I was just joking, but maybe that was harsh? Don't worry. I'll persevere in the face of adversity. What's that?
I think I made the right choice. I made the right choice. She is exactly the sort of woman that I enjoy.
The one who can engage in verbal barbs with you?
Oh, baby, yes. Because
here's
the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Here, this is going to be some deepest Itaku. You might have parsed this already. If I enjoy something, I tease the snot out of it. This is not helped by dating life. You might understand.
Ladies, be single. Sign up now at www.ditakudates.com/LawLamauXD.
Okay. Okay, this is happening.
Ladies, go into the comments. Tell us what your ideal first Itaku date would be like, and we'll get back to you.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm happy to hear it. Of course. I had to go in there for a moment, didn't I? Grinning at me, she slips her phone from her pocket and glances at the display. Would you look at the time? I really must be going soon. And I only just got here. Well, you'll simply have to pop by again to hear more, I suppose. Nothing can be done about that. I humor her with an exaggerated sigh. Nothing at all, no. I'll find some time in my busy schedule to visit again. I'm sure you'll manage. How have you been holding up, though? Catch a sudden change in tone throws me off. Huh? How have you been doing since the last time you spoke? Adjusting all right? Yeah, I think so. I don't really know what to tell her, or what an acceptable response is. She considers me for a moment and nods. Still too soon for a confident answer. I understand. There's no rush to get used to things, you know. Well, no, but you'd still like it to happen sooner rather than later. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm quite confident. You're already going out of your way to pay gentlemanly visits to your classmates? That puts you well ahead of the curve. Huh, perfect. I'll just keep this up then. Katja flashes a bright smile. Lovely. She turns to gather her belongings from the corner of the pews. Swinging her bag over her shoulder, she looks at me again. I did mean it, by the way. Mean what? I appreciate you coming, especially since I've never asked you to. It's a kind gesture. Nothing really. It was my pleasure. Maybe so. But you're still one of only a handful of people to ever stop by. I'm so grateful, even if it's for nothing. That just sounds like everyone else's loss.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think this might be less. I think this might be less her singing and more because she's singing in a church. And hate to say this, but Europe right now is kind of turned its not so much now. I mean, they are kind of waking up, but it's been massively secularized, which is unfortunate.
Indeed.
Because I mean, you want to talk about like the heart of where Christianity is, man, especially in Central Europe where they have some beautiful. That's the heart of where the Gothic architectural movement is.
Yep.
Man, they have some beautiful churches over there.
See, gentlemen, this is your ticket. You're looking for a goth GF. You better head to church.
I mean, you see, I want to say something, but you're kind of right, actually. Get yourself a Tradcath goth, gentlemen. That's what you got to do. See, I will confess ignorance. I do not know that much about the other Protestant sects but I will say this. Traditional Catholicism is gloomy and dour enough that, if I were so inclined, I would go, well, yes, I would like to wear, like alabaster face paint all the time.
There is something to be said for that. All right, so all our Tradcath Goth GFs, go down to the comments and tell us what your ideal first Itaku date would be like. Let us know.
Oh, Lord.
That just sounds like everyone else's loss. You're sweet. Ready to go, she gives you one last smile. I look forward to seeing you around more. Let me know if you need help with anything. Thanks, I'll see you later. She walks down the aisle and out of the chapel. The end of our conversation was starting to feel like an impromptu therapy session. I'm not sure if it was more for my benefit or for hers. It was pleasant, though. I didn't exactly mind. It's a lot of time for my actual appointment with Dr. Faber, so I decided to give the interior a more thorough look. Distracted as I was with Katja earlier, it's only now that I notice some of the details. The windows aren't just impressively tall, they're also filled with intricate stained glass artwork. Here and there I can recognize the images as representing biblical figures, but even those that look unfamiliar are rather beautiful. I'm reminded of all the nursery rhymes and childhood hymns. They were surprisingly effective at teaching without forcing assigned readings upon me. I suppose that's why they call it an oral tradition.
I mean, that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah, to start getting you associated with the broad strokes, so that you can have a better context for when you actually dive in, which is what you're supposed to do.
I mean, that's the entire point. They're supposed to teach you lessons. They're also supposed to inculcate you into a particular culture. I mean, that's the nature of it, and that's kind of the reason why I feel it's sad. Like, I have been in early child education, and it's just like they are so removed from any semblance of. I mean, not for nothing. I know Grimm's fairy tales are incredibly grim.
Indeed.
I mean, they're also like, here's the thing, much like Snek, children like to be scared.
Yep.
And so, having spooky, scary fairy tales where people are getting hacked to pieces and like horrible things are happening, but ultimately good wins over evil. This is fundamentally good.
Yep.
So, and it's like, that's not being presented to children when honestly, like in the nature, I mean, have you gone outside? I think it's more relevant now than ever.
And I'm just saying, if you go into the heart of the woods and the animals start talking to you, those are not animals. Run for your life.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I have encountered both, the European fairies, the little like, oh, hello, I'm David the Gnome. Well, would you like a spot of tea? And I've also been in the American woods where, the trees start speaking and you see tall, dark shadows and you move away from them very quietly and very quickly.
Try not to draw attention to yourselves and do not speak.
Yeah, because you don't know if that's a deer or if that's, a Wendigo.
That's a not deer.
Oh, that's a deer. That's a deer, all right. Or at least it's wearing the skin of a deer.
It used to be a deer, maybe.
Yes.
Through my thoughts, I hear footsteps approaching from a chamber at the side of the hall. Just as I turn to look, a heavy door swings open with a creak, and a congenial-looking elderly man steps through. From his attire, it's clear he's some sort of priest. Like the organ, I should have expected his presence, but the thought never occurred to me. He smiles at me from across the pews and makes his way towards me. I see you met Miss Bohm. His voice drifts around the hall with a comforting warmth. It isn't loud, but it's stronger than I had guessed from his narrow frame, and deeper too. I mean, most priests are
That's another
practiced
thing.
in communication and oratory skills, my dude.
Well, that's another thing, actually. A lot of these old Gothic cathedrals actually have very excellent acoustics.
Yep.
You wouldn't think it, but the way that the walls are and the stained glass is constructed actually is designed to basically allow you from one end of the basically to be able to speak from one end and be heard on the far end.
Yep. This is before the era of microphones.
Things, yes. So you had to be able to, in order to convey what you're saying. And here's the thing too, with a lot of these old churches, they would be conducted in the old Latin rite. And wouldn't you know it, most of the mass, the priest is going to be looking away from you because he's going to be, his attention is going to be on the altar. So, yeah, you have to have incredibly good acoustics.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine what it would be like to listen to his sermons. Reassuring, even if you're not sure you understand his meaning.
Oh, yeah, we finally get to see what he looks like.
Yeah, looks like the gentle old soul sort. As he reaches me, I can make out his features more clearly.
He's a chicken? No one's going to get that.
Are you meaning to tell me, sir, that a chicken fried this rice?
Yes.
Well, what an interesting world we live in. As he reaches me, I can make out his features more cleanly. His pensive gray eyes observe me without a hint of judgment, and his wrinkles show the age of someone who spent most of his life smiling. It's not how wrinkles form, but okay. In a word, I describe him as gentle. Yeah, we've spoken a few times. He gives me a once over. What's that?
I feel sorry for the dev. We're going from, complaining about the modernity to, this is not how dermatology works.
I've been told, both Matty D and Grayest, the VN devs for Omoneko and A Whole Lot to Love have told me that our asides are some of the most interesting parts of the Let's Play, and I'm like, I should hope so, because we literally halt progression for like 20, 30 minutes at a time to make a point that the game explains like 2 sentences later.
Yeah, we're kind of dumb like that. Please continue.
He gives me a once-over himself and offers another smile, which I do my best to return. I'm Father Maximilian Steinhoff, rector of St. Dymphna's. That is a fine mouthful, however, and you should feel free to call me Father Max. I assume you're the new arrival, Eric Wilhelm.
Where's Monsignor Moritz?
I'm not
No one's going to get that either.
Now, maybe some of our European viewers will. As Father Max says that...
That's true, actually.
So we have a few.
Actually, no, I was going to say, actually, it's funny. My parents were actually watching some European television on Netflix, and they actually had, I forget what the show was, but there was a pair of German men who were Max and Moritz, and I was like, I know where you guys come from. When we were in German class, our teacher, she would have us read Max and Moritz.
Yep.
It was pretty entertaining. So
that and Asterisk. Like Asterix. Hard X.
Asterix and Obelix, yes.
Yep.
Yep.
As Father Max says this, he sends a hand. I shake it, putting these new pieces together. Of course, we'd have a father at the chapel. That much makes sense. But if he's a rector, you're in charge around here, not the principal? Now he grins. Ah, yes. In practice, he is the principal. My responsibilities are more ecumenical, and it's most convenient for the school that I leave him to his duties. He performs them admirably. So, it's a... sinecure? I don't know how you say that word.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. As I mentioned in Wholesome Monster Girl Academia, I did not grow up in Catholicism, and I also have never been to Europe, so all these things are a little bit outside of what I'm used to.
It's sinecure. Actually, I've never seen that word myself.
Okay.
I'm a bad Catholic. But you know what? You know what, Professor? You know what the beauty of it is?
What's that?
The Mother Church has her arms open to all, for you see, Catholicism itself. It is not the capital C Catholicism. It's little c because it literally means, it's Greek for universal. It is the universal church. Join us.
I love you like a brother, man, and I always will. But I don't think you guys really want to put up with me. Like, you guys have seen my channel, right?
If they can put up with me, I think they can put up with you. It's okay. You know, it's okay. I'm just saying.
I take it as a great compliment that you and Noodle continue to insist. For those who are curious about my particular affiliation, you might need to put that down as not applicable. When you start becoming an independent theologian, you tend to start alienating larger sects and their very, very, very silly ideas that accompany them. See, the larger the size of the group, the lower the collective IQ becomes. And so I kind of have to do things my own way. And not for nothing, I'm sure all of you have wonderful, beautiful affiliations and wonderful, beautiful relationships. But I'm a little bit of an oddball, you see.
You know what? I challenge you then. You need to read. You need to read Thomas Aquinas.
All right.
If you're talking about, like collective IQ, this guy is like the sharpest theologian that our sect has produced. So,
all right.
And he wrote a lot. So,
well, I'm sure it's an engaging read regardless.
You should give that a try because.
Right.
So
I will add that to the to read list then.
Alongside Starship Troopers.
I definitely need to finish that. For a clergyman to lead the school is still a bit of a surprise. It's just not the impression you'd get from the clinical energy everything has. Guess with a name like St.
From the place
Dymphna's...
called St. Dymphna's. Literally,
Yeah.
yes.
With a name like
Like,
St. Dymphna's, I should have guessed that this was a religious institution. He holds up a hand in friendly caution. Strictly speaking, Eric, you're correct. This is a religious institution. That said, you wouldn't worry yourself about any implications of that term. Once upon a time, this was a Jesuit monastery, and on paper, it's still the property of the order, but that's theoretical. The legal status is neither reflected in school policy nor priority. We have religious services for those who would attend, but you're not obligated to them. I want to say that's a relief,
so
but...
Father Max is a Jesuit then.
Yes, evidently. I want to say it's a relief, but I realize that might be rude. I understand. Thanks for the clarification. Father Max gives me a nod. I'm here to help however I might. You're welcome to contact me if I can ever be of assistance, and that offer goes for more than just relationship troubles between yourself and God. He looks at me expectantly, and
Here's the thing.
What's that?
I was just going to say, here's the thing. A lot of hospitals, especially in Europe, were founded and maintained even today by Catholics, and you will notice that they don't turn people away.
Right.
So yeah, I imagine it's something similar to in this institution.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Once again, little c, universal.
He looks at me expectantly, and when I laugh at his joke, smiles with obvious satisfaction. I will. Now he looks down the hall at the entrance through which Katja had left just now. Katja doesn't usually have visitors during her practices, Yeah, she told me. We were talking yesterday, and she mentioned that she sings here often, so I thought I'd stop by after class. That's very good of you. She's been practicing for the gala, It's in 2 weeks. I'd strongly recommend you attend. Ah, that makes sense. She'd be performing then. I'll do my best to make it. Good. If I might ask, how have your first few days at St. Dymphna's been? I struggle to put together an answer you might find satisfactory. Good so far, still getting my bearings. I've been meeting people and maybe making friends. So I see. Again, he glances significantly to the doors Katja just left through. Yes, Katja and I are friends. Ish. Friend adjacent? Approximately friends? Yeah. Something about the patient way... What's that?
Ironically, for the woman who, has tell me about my cool scar, she's actually been one of the kindest people to us.
No, that's true.
Despite being like, it's like, oh wow, this is like the nicest anyone's been to me.
I mean, our first impression was a girl who doesn't talk, so that kind of probably set the bar a little low, and then Katja is just like, I'm going to verbally joust with you now, and Eric is just like, wait,
well,
what?
Okay, it's all right. So in order, we have girl who doesn't speak, nonverbal communication.
Right.
Which, I mean, honestly, I'd be curious to see how that works. Not in, in a, just to see how they explore that. We have flirty, social butterfly who basically came onto us.
Yes.
We have the incredibly blunt photographer.
Also, yes.
Who actually seems really accepting now that I think about it. We have the Katja, who's just, seems to be also attack 100, defense 0.
Yeah, there's some truth.
Well, it takes one to know one, bro. Right. Also, Jeanne, who is like, actually, admittedly, like a pretty cute little cinnamon roll.
She is. She absolutely is.
Am I missing anybody?
Oh, there was Ella, the dark-haired girl who gave us the tour.
Ah, yes. Who? Yeah, she seems she's like the very prim, proper.
Yeah.
You have to do things by the book.
Very level-headed.
Kind of OCD. Very, I'm sorry, I'm doing it wrong. Kind of CDO, very by the book.
Yes.
Everything in its proper place and time.
Makes sense.
I understand this too. I'm surrounded by people that are like this, so I get it.
That washes.
I mean, Cog bullied himself out of the music industry because he was not perfect enough. If that's not CDO, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no, definitely. Something about the patient way Father Max regards me makes me want to say more. Honestly, I'm still not sure about how to interact with people. I'm doing my best to be accommodating, but I'm still afraid of doing something wrong, or caring too much about doing something wrong. Your concerns are entirely understandable, Eric. Every student here has to go through an adjustment phase of their own. None are necessarily easy.
Yes. You're a sensitive young man in a school surrounded by, vixens. It's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, if relationships don't work out, he could consider becoming a man of the cloth himself.
That is one thing that, honestly, I kind of am frustrated with the church for. But whatever happens, why did they have to, require priests to be not celibate, but not be able to marry? I mean, it wasn't a thing up until about the 12th century.
Right.
It
is.
It just.
I assume, and this is me trying to, as an outsider looking in, I think it was because they would want to see people with self-control, strong piousness, and strong moral character, which is all good. But I think it also ignores the fact that at heart we are people.
We are social people, and honestly, it led in the effort to try and, as you say, maintain a extremely strict moral standard for priests and men and women of the clergy. It also added other problems that we are kind of noticing now, especially, and it's kind of a big problem.
Right. Let's not get into that. This is not the time nor place.
Yes.
I know. I just wish it would be over sooner rather than later. Don't we always?
Yeah. It'd be like that, though.
That's life. Time flies much faster when we're keeping ourselves occupied with friends. I've been trying. Succeeding, it would seem. Don't fret too much, Eric. With friends like Katja, I'd say you're getting your bearings just fine. I don't think he's wrong, but he's bringing Katja up on he ships it. He's just like, you two are cute. And you're kind of dumb, so it's like two puppies playing together, so it's like, yeah, I could see it happening.
No.
I'm probably reading way too much into that. It was just like a really funny train of thought, and I was like, let's see where this rabbit hole goes.
No, I mean, here's the thing. The reason why priests are called fathers, they're supposed to be patriarchs of the clergy. They're supposed to be like fathers of the big goofy family of the parish. Whether or not that actually happens, I've seen both. But I could see that if he's like, Katja, is very sheltered. She seems to be a very pious girl. I'm gonna push these two awkward teenagers together.
I could see it. It makes sense. Do you know Katja well? My question catches him off guard, like he thought it was obvious. I suppose I never mentioned. My duties include leading the school choir. Oh, so you're technically her teacher. Something like that, yes. I'd say I advise more than teach. I'm not invested enough to ask him to explain the difference.
I mean, he's literally a principal.
Yeah.
I mean, and considering he's a Jesuit, he probably also can play basketball, so.
Oh, dang. That's why he's in such good shape.
Don't ask me why I know this. Okay, I'll tell you. I went to a Jesuit university. Our basketball team would regularly trounce the bigger state teams. It was actually pretty funny.
As you'd imagine, that means I've spoken to Miss Bohm regularly since she joined. Right. Indeed. Have you perhaps thought about joining the choir yourself? Oh, not exactly, no. I can't really sing. That's true for me too, actually. Father Max offers a sage nod. Fair enough.
I can't really sing. My leg is broken. What?
You see, I need my legs working in order to sing properly. I don't think that's how it works. Fair enough. We do welcome students of all levels. We all start somewhere. I'll keep that in mind. I won't really.
That is
but...
true. That's actually what a ranger said. He's
Yep.
a singing and musical teacher.
Yep. And he asked me if I would ever do a cover of Maiden by the River. And I was like, bro, I can't sing. And he's like, yes, you can. It's just a matter of where you're starting. And I was like, I hate the fact that you're right, and I have no actual argument against it.
And I mean, it's not like if we're doing his arrangement of Maiden by the River, it's not like it involves falsetto or hitting incredibly high notes. You probably could do it.
I probably could. Once this cough clears up, I will make it a point to try, maybe. I won't really, but that's a polite thing to say. That's good to hear. Turns his arm to get a look at his watch and gives me a smile. Ah. I had stepped out to give you my welcome, Eric, but unfortunately my responsibilities call me. I've got a mountain of paperwork to go through, as I always seem to. For now, welcome to St. Dimphnis. I hope to see you around again. Thanks, yeah, I'll be around. I wave, and he turns back to the side of the room he'd come from. I'm left once again with my thoughts, and I realize I've lost track of time. According to my phone, it's getting close to my appointment with Dr. Faber. I'll probably be fine, but I'm not going to risk being late to my very first appointment. I'll take one final look around the chapel before setting off. I leave the chapel and begin my slow walk towards Dr. Faber's office. This meeting should be the least of my worries. Considering that I left so early, I have no reason to be late to my first appointment. I guess it's pretty good I left early. I don't know how my leg is going to hold up, and I'm not too familiar with the route. It's probably for the best that I don't take any risks, but maybe it wouldn't be so bad if I found myself arriving late to the appointment. I don't think Faber could fault me for that, considering what I had to contend with. Should I really stress myself out over making my way there as soon as possible? Yes. Yes, look, you gotta understand. Snek Dad, he was in the military. Being on time meant that you were at minimum 5 minutes early. And he would always say, Snek, it's better that you're someplace an hour early than to be even a minute late. And those are words that I have always lived by. So, yes, be where you need to be early and be ready for possible complications, because life is full of those. Maybe I could come up with some excuse, miss a session entirely. No, now you're just being lazy. From the corner of my eye, I managed to spot a sign which conveniently points me to the school's main building. There it is, clear as day, begging to be noticed by the students on campus. How could anyone possibly miss that? Alright then, Eric, enough stalling. Enough stalling. Unluckily for me, the paths to the psychiatry offices are pretty intuitive. Every sidewalk connects to the main walkway in some way or another. All you have to do is walk straight and you're bound to end up where you're supposed to be. I grit my teeth in frustration. Pretty straightforward for a person like me working my way to my psychiatrist's office. My visit to Dr. Faber is just another confirmation that I belong here. No. For all the people I've met at the school, I can't afford to think like that. No matter what happened, I'm still me. I'm still Eric Wilhelm. I exhale my held breath in an effort to relieve some of the tension gripping my body. No, I'm really not the same anymore. Ignoring my problems won't make them go away, and forgetting my situation won't let me get past it either. Well, look at that. I'm already making progress in my head. Maybe I don't need to sit down and talk about my problems after all. That train of thought probably won't win me any favors with Dr. Faber. From here, it's a straight shot to the main building. Yet every step makes me realize how much distance there is between the buildings and myself. Every foot forward feels like a losing battle, my leg wobbling dangerously underneath me. As much as this walk sucks, I just need a few more moments, and finally, I reach the doors of the school offices. As I stumble through the double doors, I'm immediately struck by how blue the hallway is. They probably chose blue to be calming and relaxing, but for me it has the opposite effect. The decor starts to make my stomach churn until I'm forced to look down and concentrate on my footsteps. Of course, the school would paint the hallways in a forcefully relaxing color. No, you're stressing yourself out because that's what you're doing. Source, been there, done that, got the t-shirt already. However, with my eyes now on the floor, I can clearly make out the imprints of past visitors' shoes on the campus carpeting. I'm horrified to find that my feet are falling squarely into them. I force my head up and find that I'm coming close to a junction. On the wall, a conveniently placed non-blue sign directs me to the Faber's office. Of course. Just what I would expect from the school. It's comically impossible to get lost no matter how hard a student might try. If the campus were more complicated or there were less signs, then you could conveniently get lost? How great would it be if by the time I reached the office my appointment were over? It's not my fault, Dr. Faber, just an unfortunate set of coincidences causing me to miss every sign on campus. Perhaps our meeting will just have to be rescheduled for a future time. Time when I'm not freaking out at this very moment. What a ridiculous thought. Could I forget the way here every time I have an appointment? Mine's already fixed on another sign directing me to Faber's office. Hell, at this point, I can even see his door. Maybe I could just skip it? What can they do, scold me? Kick me out of the school? I shake my head. What's wrong with you, Eric? I'm already here, standing conspicuously in the middle of a corridor. I'm just around the corner from another nearby office and close enough to hear the light clicks of a keyboard and rustling papers. I'm not alone. Faber's door is directly in front of me. All I have to do is walk forward, yet my body feels light years away. My heart is trembling and I can't find myself able to commit to any kind of motor function. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. You have to do this. I inhale sharply in an attempt to calm my racing nerves. One step at a time. Any distance can be covered, one step at a time. I can do this. It takes some effort, but I'm able to force myself to take the final few motions to Faber's office. Any cynical thoughts I have are pushed into the recesses of my mind. I knock once. Silence. Maybe he didn't hear? Before I can retreat, the door is opened. I didn't hear any sound of him approaching the door from the other side. In the briefest of moments, he's simply there, looking professionally composed and smiling. Hello, Eric. I nod stiffly in acknowledgement, feeling more like a deer in headlights than a student here for a simple counseling appointment. Please, come in. You're right on time. I follow Faber into his office. As Faber sits, I'm immediately thrown off by what I see. This room isn't how I imagine a psychiatrist's office would look. Of course, there's a couch at one end of the room, but the entire office feels unexpectedly mundane. It looks like a normal school office, cramped space covered in sunlight with various papers and books strewn everywhere. One wall is lined with diplomas accompanied by an assortment of what seem to be personal photos. The strangest part of the room that I can see is that his desk is pushed to face the far side of the wall. Either his back will be facing me the entire time or he'll be directly focused on me during our conversation. I'm not sure how to feel about either scenario. Eric. I stiffen as I direct my attention to Faber, hoping he doesn't notice. Would you like to sit down? Yes, please. Just how tense do I look right now? I can feel it in my shoulders. I look for other seating arrangements on the couch and can see that I have a few options. Excluding the chair taken by Faber, there's two others in the room. One of them's a beanbag, the other's an armchair. I sat on the ladder and tried to make myself comfortable on the creased, aged leather. From here, I await judgment.
So this is my problem. This is my problem with a lot of psychologists, is that he would even probably write down as like, he prefers the beanbag. He doesn't, require, he yearns for freedom and nonconformity. Probably should apply shock therapy later.
It does seem to be a lot of reading between lines that may or may not actually exist, right? How are you holding up so far? I nod mechanically, desperate to try and say something. It's fine. It's a good start. He doesn't question my answer and simply returns a nod. I'm glad you found your way here. I can understand how confusing it might be to find your way around an unfamiliar environment. I fight against the smile I feel forming on my face, shrugging. There are signs everywhere. So there are. Are you ready to get started? He patiently waits for my response, though at this point it's not really like I can say, nah, I'm good, I just showed up to say hey. I resign myself to a slow nod. Alright then. He has his chair positioned to directly face me, making it obvious that I have his full attention. How have you been settling in so far? I can feel my chest sink a little. Well, let me see. I got here, and everyone is a little bit unhinged, and then this one Russian girl comes up to me and starts telling me puns until I feel my gray matter pouring out my nose. Then her sister showed up, and she was like, yeah, she's just gonna do that, might as well just embrace it. Then Loyroll showed up, and he's just like, fabulous. And then this one girl just literally like slams into me.
I'm sorry. It must have been quite the shock that someone was utilizing the same tactics against you. I mean, it must have been like, I'm sorry, you can't use cavalry archers. Only I'm allowed to do that, Snek said, as the Mongol cavalry archers were unleashed upon him.
I mean,
Yeah,
Eric
didn't suck, don't it?
Eric didn't like her puns, but I mean, I did. Because she's always Russian.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those who care, we have a private Discord. No, unfortunately, you cannot join. If you're ever wondering how Snek interacts with the rest of us, well, now you know.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, sometimes through life, you have to expect a certain degree of punishment. I can feel my chest sink a little. I think carefully about my choice of words and try responding in a way that doesn't sound problematic. I've only been here a couple of days, but so far I think I'm doing all right. I mean, nothing seems deliberately nasty or anything, I guess. Were you expecting things to be deliberately nasty? Well, shit. No, but I don't know. New schools typically feel weird, I guess. I might have worked myself into a corner here. Faber nods. I understand. It can be difficult to adjust to a new school, but I'm glad nothing bad has stood out to you. Though I am surprised. I mean, when I came in a few years back, I certainly found the school's food to be deliberately nasty. Huh? This comment throws me off guard. Think the food here is nasty? I think you might be a little spoiled now. It's much better than it used to be. Though it was hard for me first starting out. For my time here, I did a little traveling, and I admit I grew a little attached to some of the fancier European cuisines. Before I realized that my body is leaning towards Faber, and I find myself engaged in conversation. Where have you traveled? A twinkle of light flashes across Faber's eyes. Where can I start? Of course, I toured France's countryside, from the waters of St. Malo all the way down to Toulouse? I have no idea. Where I spent a summer. I've seen the Atlantic in Porto and the Mediterranean during winter in Venezia. I did enjoy my time in Switzerland quite a bit. Lucerne, Basel. I started to interrupt Faber, but retract immediately once I realized I've rudely interrupted him. Shakes his head with a soft smile. You're not at fault, Eric. What did you want to say? I was just going to say that Basel's where I grew up. My parents live out there now, but it was our whole family's home for a while. Surprising myself, I started talking about my experiences back home. I talked for a while about growing up and the fun memories I shared with my brother and sisters. I realize I'm smiling without having to force it. I see. Basel is a lovely city to raise a family in. I understand your older siblings moved out not too long ago, correct? My brother Gustav moved out a few years ago, and my sisters just recently moved together in Vienna. Now we finally have a relationship for this guy, so Gustav is Eric's brother. We've kind of not really been clued into that till just right now. Why don't you tell me more about them? No matter what I say, Faber patiently listens and engages in the conversation. This isn't an interrogation.
You need to let me go, Eric. You need to let me go.
He's not dead.
20 years ago.
Gustav's alive. We've established that he's alive.
Maybe this is, what was that? The Sixth Sense, that one overrated movie that, maintains, Shamalama Ding Dong can always look back and go, yeah, well, at least I had that.
I at least have that one. Never mind all the screw-ups that came afterward.
Guys, I got a great plot for a horror movie. Okay, you ready for this? Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah,
says,
right.
Jimmy, the Hollywood producer. All right, I got this. Okay, you ready? All right, I'm sitting down. What do you got? Trees kill people. So are they like scary monster trees? No, they're regular trees.
They're just regular trees.
How do they do that?
But they shoot their pollen all over you, and it murders you from the inside out. And some guy manages to ask the trees nicely to not kill him, so they do. They don't kill him, I mean. And he gets to just pass through unharmed. This actually happens.
I am on several hallucinogens right now. I say let's do it.
Excellent. The best
Hollywood
thing...
later was like, I have never I don't understand why this didn't make any money.
We literally gave it the best title ever. It was a thing that happened. Or The Happening for short. Literally, the title is Something That Happened. Like, seriously.
Counterpoint. Okay, but they'll, you know what they'll say? They'll be like, well, what about The Thing? And it's like, yeah, well, see, here's the thing.
Because it's abbreviated of The Thing from Another World.
On that, and also the fact that there's actually like, what if there was a literal shape-shifting creature that will eat you from the inside out, slowly try and take over everything around you, and then try and perfectly mimic you and your mannerisms so that it can eat other people, is really scary, rather than trees use pollen and hay fever kill people.
I mean, what else would they have called
Especially when they start adding...
Who goes there?
I mean, maybe.
Actually, no, I take it back. That would still work as an excellent movie title. I kind of like that.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I mean, I love The Thing. It is so good.
Fantastic film.
Speaking of the podcast, we actually did a podcast.
We did. That film. We did Halloween movies. We have a few of those. You guys should go check those out.
Yep.
Towards the end of our session, Faber turns to pick up a thick folder from atop his desk. Now, before we leave today, I'd like you to go through some extra paperwork so that I can get a better idea of your situation. Do you mind? I shake my head. The folder he passes me is so thick I don't need a clipboard to write my answers down. Thankfully, the questions are all multiple choice, so I don't focus too much on the folder's weight. Don't overthink your answers. Go with whatever seems right in the moment. Pass me a pen, and with a little hesitation, I begin to mark down the answers I feel comfortable with. Surprised by how much more at ease I am, even filling out personal medical questions. Minutes later, I put the pen and pass the papers back. Joints of my fingers were a little sore, but I survived. Dr. Faber flicks through all the papers at inhuman speed. I'd be surprised if he could actually read any of the documents he's skimming. It's only at the very end that he pauses briefly, reading one of the last sections a little more thoroughly before closing the entire folder and setting it back on his desk. Everything looks good? I'll go over the details to review for our next appointment, which will be next week at this time. I have your phone number on file, and my contact info was included in the last email I sent you. You'll receive a text reminders for next week's appointment in case you forget. Also, he reaches yet again back to his desk. Before I can groan at the thought of more paperwork, he passes me over a black hardcover journal. I'd like you to keep a journal to record your thoughts every evening. Doesn't have to be anything too extensive, simple remarks about what you've done and how you feel each day. The book looks expensive, though I'm hardly an expert. I flip through all the blank pages, taking in the smell of crisp new paper. Makes me feel like I'd be ruining these pages with the scrawlings of my mundane life rather than contributing to them. What are you going to use this for? Nothing. The journal's for you. If it helps, we'll continue to have you use it. If it doesn't, then you don't have to write in it, but it's best to start writing out your thoughts now. Getting into the habit of writing daily might be more beneficial than you think. I give a reaffirming nod. And Eric? Yes, sir. Peter maintains his smile, but his gaze becomes more intense as he continues. If you need anything from me between appointments, please call. I'll always try to answer the phone, but if I do not, then please leave a voicemail and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Day or night, it's my job to be here and help you. Got it. Thanks. Peter's expression warms as he sets down his paperwork and slaps his leg decisively. Great. Well, I look forward to seeing you next week. I blankly stare at him in surprise. Huh? Without realizing that the session is already over, and what should have felt like an hour passed by in only moments. This isn't how I imagined therapy would be. That's it? Dr. Faber nods, his amused smile telling me this isn't the first time he's heard this question. Is there anything else on your mind, Eric? Well, yeah, but this is a lot more straightforward than I thought it would be. Faber holds a smile. I'm here as a resource for you, Eric. The meetings will go however you want them to. That's cool. I don't really know what to say, but I'm already physically feeling a lot better. For now, remember to work on the journal I gave you, and for this week, try to find new opportunities to make some good friends here. It's important to find some safe spaces to settle into with any new school. It'll also be a good goal to focus on for our next meeting, don't you think? I give off a final but very comfortable nod. Taking this as a cue to leave, I stand up from my chair. I can feel the cold air hitting the sweat that had collected on my back, but at this point the sensation's quite refreshing. Thank you for your time. Anytime, Eric. I leave the office and shut the door with an unexpected smile on my face. It's a simple endeavor to retrace my way out of the building. However, this time I paid deliberate attention to avoid walking within the old wear marks in the hallway carpeting. Now, in a much better mood, I decided to take a longer route back to the dorm. Or I would have, but of course I'm predictably stopped short by my leg. Are you kidding me? It's only been a few minutes, but it's already beginning to bother me as I work my way down the outdoor path. It looks like I still have some distance to go, as looking around I don't recognize the generic school building and bordering woodland. I could try to push myself to continue around the building to see if I recognize any obvious landmarks. However, I stumble, almost face-planting the concrete, but thankfully catch myself just in time. Tripping at this point wouldn't be ideal. I take a momentary glance around and spot a fallen log on a short way into the woods beside the main road. Be a decent place to sit that isn't in the dirt or sun, but in the woods. I can already see a fence ominously blocking further entry. However, the log is on my side of the fence, so I guess walking that far shouldn't be a problem, right? Cautiously ignoring a warning sign, I push through some of the side foliage and come into an almost brand new world under a canopy of trees. I'm only just a few feet away from the path, and already the entire mood has changed. A wash of swaying green leaves and the melody of distant birdsong hum alive before me. Wow. I make my way towards the log, which is only a few meters away, continuing to listen to the sounds of the forest. I step onto a branch hidden in the soil, which gives away with a resounding crack. The peaceful ambience of the forest is broken immediately. The air soon filled by the sound of fluttering wings. Flocks of birds, alarmed by my intrusion, launch themselves up and disappear into the sky. I watch as they fly off, but you scared them away. Hobbling to the other side of the end of the fallen log, I find a girl staring longingly into the sky after the birds. It turns out what I'd first assumed was Moss is actually the head of a St. Dymphna student. Her hair is pulled out of her face and tied back, maybe as an afterthought. However, her uniform is rather ironically neatly pressed and the kind of spotless you would not expect to find under a mess of hair. Or in a forest, for that matter. I try to pay attention to anything else other than this girl in front of me. I try to open my mouth and say something, anything, but I'm... Why did you do that? Cut off as she beats me in starting the conversation. Sorry, I didn't think anyone else would be here. She eyes me warily for a moment, and then a while. The silence gets to stretch so far between us that soon my pre-Faber internal anxiety is starting to return. Should I just leave, or... Doesn't even seem like she wants to look at me, although that's not too surprising considering that I am some random stranger in her eyes. Try to find new opportunities to make some good friends. Faber's voice rings out in my mind. I clear my throat. I'm Eric Wilhelm. I extend my hand towards hers. Now she a new transfer student. She glances briefly at my uniform, then looks away just as quickly. She nods, perhaps in acknowledgement of my words, although the reaction appears more mechanical than any kind of natural response. Was this how I came across Dr. Faber earlier? The quiet stillness quickly returns between the two of us, leaving only the accompaniment of light rustling of leaves. You screwed up, Eric. I slowly retract my hand. I'm sorry for bothering you. I'm ready to turn around and leave. However, as if compelled by my sudden departure, the girl mumbles out a barely audible whisper. I'm supposed to introduce myself. She squares her shoulders, though still neglects to make eye contact with me, and calls out her own introduction with a voice much louder than before. I'm Isolde Gaylord. I've been here for 2 years and 1 month. I nod back, but in the spirit of making friends, I feel a little confused at this point. I have no idea how to continue this conversation. It's nice to meet you. That's a start. Oh, right. Nice to meet you too. Try to play my absent-mindedness as a joke, chuckling. Why are you laughing? The hollow laughter catches in my throat, and I answer with resignation. I don't know. She nods, indicating that to be a perfectly acceptable answer. You're really weird. I work hard to stifle another laugh. Yeah, I feel pretty weird right now. My leg is now screaming at me, leaving me close to collapsing. To tell you the truth, I'm a little tired and was looking for a place to rest. I motioned to the fallen log nearby her. Can I sit down? At this point, I'm not even sure if I could make it back to the main road if she said no. My butt meeting the ground seems to be an inevitability, whether elevated on a log or not. Probably. I'll take it. It's not a definitive yes, but I can already feel my leg buckling underneath me. I wobble dangerously before perching on the end of the log, just a little away from where our soul is sitting. Exhaustion overtakes me. I don't know whether it's because I'm relying far too much on one leg for support, or maybe that I'm mentally exhausted after Faber's meeting. Still, in a few moments, relief courses my body, and I throw my head back with a satisfied sigh. I'm not sure whether Isolde is still eyeing me warily or not, so without looking directly at her, I try to make an attempt to engage in small talk. You come here often? Yes. Her curt reply draws my attention, and by looking over, I see that she is now standing. Her eyes are fixed hard on the blanket that she's standing on. Following her gaze, I'm embarrassed that it's taken me this long to realize the pages of sketches littered all around her. They comprise of differently shaped and shaded local birds, and they look quite good. Did you draw all these? She answers me without looking up. Yes. I'm still unsure whether I should back out of this conversation or not. I could try once more, perhaps to see if any kind of discussion's possible. Would you mind if I looked at them, up close? She tenses up immediately. Yes. Fair enough. As I resign myself to ending our talk, she bends down and reaches for a black journal placed next to her. She picks it up with the utmost grace and care, her fingertips grazing outer edges as if the entire journal were priceless to her. Despite her previous response, she holds the book out towards me and waits for me to take it. I don't understand. I'm handing it to you. She sounds annoyed now, so rather than argue the point, I accept the book. Ah! I scoot over and reach my hands out to take it. Before I can, she violently jerks the journal back. It takes her a moment, but she quickly collects herself and extends the book toward me again. Only this time, she's holding it with just her fingertips. Is she afraid to have any contact with me? I decide not to push the issue and accept the book once more. The book is just like the journal Dr. Faber had given to me earlier, but after opening and flipping through the pages, I see that it's filled with pictures instead of words. Every page is covered in drawings varying from simple pencil outlines to intricately shaded creatures, from sketches the size of her thumb to full pages depicting a single forested backdrop. It's as if there were another world trapped within these pages. Up close, they're really good. I finish on a picture of an owl sheltering in the fork of a tree, its head tilted to one side as if eyeing me suspiciously. I'm quickly reminded of the girl in front of me. Satisfied, I hand the book back to her. Isolde accepts it with her fingertips, still looking... I think you put the word looking twice there, game dev. She's making some effort not to touch my hands. I try not to pay too much mind to it, instead focusing on what I had just seen from her journal. These drawings are amazing. She simply nods, looking like what I said was a dry fact rather than praise for her work. I've got a lot more back at my room. Jeanne likes them as well. Isolde pauses, looks up at me from where she's collected her drawing implements, and starts putting them back into her bag. They're really nothing special, though. I just draw what's in front of me. You're a very talented artist. She looks momentarily puzzled as she glances down at the sketch pads in front of her and then up at a few of the trees. There are plenty of people who hear an alarm go off in her bag. It takes her a moment of fumbling through the pockets, but soon enough, she pulls out a phone and taps it to stop the alarm. 5 o'clock. She seems to have forgotten I'm here. She fumbles around and gathers up her materials. She hastily returns the sketchbook to her bag, along with the blanket and other materials before standing back up. I have to get back to the dorm. Jeanne will be waiting for me to come to dinner. The name sounds familiar. Is that the same Jeanne from my physical education fiasco the other day? Goodbye. If I can inquire at all, she starts picking her way through the woods and back towards the school. By the time I'm back on my feet, she started to put some distance between us. She isn't walking to the main road, though, instead of cutting directly through the trees on a horizontal path to what I assume to be the direction of the dorms. I'm sure there are a number of different rules against that, but at this point, I'm inclined to take the shortcut with her. Would it be weird to follow? Yes, it would be weird to follow her, dude. Don't do that. We're both thinking back to campus.
You know what? You're young. You can only be weird and awkward, once. It's okay. Also, she probably isn't noticing you. Also, I'm sorry, I was eating my lunch.
No, you're quite all right.
I had a peanut butter sandwich. It was pretty all right.
I'm sure we'll have to start the second channel, Ditaku ASMR for all the Tradcath Goth GFs in the audience awaiting to date you.
You can't see it. I'm rolling my eyes. But, I understand there, girl, who I don't think we actually got her name.
Isolde.
Isolde. I understand Isolde. I too, love to doodle, love to draw. I love to just, I'm a very visual person, which is the height of irony. God truly does have a sense of humor. But, and once again, I also wanted to point out, just as an aside, something that you can appreciate and you have brought to my attention there, Professor.
All right.
Her crippling imposter syndrome. It's like, these are incredible. It's nothing. They're not so good.
Yeah.
I've heard that from somebody. I'm not gonna point finger Snek. I'm not gonna, say anything Snek. But, yeah, Snek.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, they're about to campus. Nothing strange about it, right? We walk in silence. I've been crunching of fallen branches and leaf litter. Isolde doesn't look back. Her destination's set. Ultimately, the distance is a short one, and it only takes moments to reach the end of the tree line. And I see Isolde walking through a muddy clearing by the dormitories. Just as I start to work my way around...
I was about to say, this is all within the grounds. This is not going to be like a huge forest.
Yeah. Shit. I feel my leg fold underneath me. I fall against the mud, expertly missing dry grass by mere centimeters. I'm not very sore, though the feeling on my leg means I can still move it at least. It takes a bit of coercion rubbing my side, but tentatively able to lever myself back to a sitting position, trying to keep the mud dripping on only one side of my body. So I look up and surprised to see a nervous Isolde staring at my leg. I hadn't even noticed her approach, but there she is, standing in the middle of the mud pit I just fell into. Hey, I'll wipe the mud off my hands and test out my leg a little. I can probably get up without help and hopefully not embarrass myself further. That said, with Isolde here, I wouldn't mind a hand. Okay, let's save. Okay. This is, like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. If I were in Eric's position, I would probably very awkwardly laugh it off and try to make a joke about it and stand up on my own power. But what are we gonna do, Hitaku? Are we gonna reach out and ask for help, or are we going to tell her that it's fine? That I'm fine?
You know what? That's a tough... This is an interesting question the game poses, because on one hand, I personally would have asked for help, just if I was in that situation. I am being disabled myself. In a pretty big permanent way. I've just kind of come to grips with the fact that, like, you kind of just have to ask for help sometimes. And a thing that's kind of been, I don't remember if he's brought this up at all. Has Carl mentioned if he has a cane with him at all? Or anything? Like any assistant?
I assume you mean
anything?
Eric, when you say that?
Eric, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure where you
for whatever reason, I've been thinking Carl. It's because Carl Wilhelm, I want to say, was one of the Habsburgian emperors. So
okay, well, that at least makes sense. I think he mentioned that he has a crutch or something that he does lean on. I think he mentioned that. I don't know if he specifically mentioned having it in his hands right this second, though.
He should. I mean, if you have that situation, okay. This is going to be a more Ditaku deep take. I am blind. I can see some, but I am very definitely, like, permanently visually impaired. I have a cane that I carry around, not because I need to walk, but because if I don't, I run into things. Also, people see it and they go, "Oh, this guy can't see good."
Little do they know,
so
it's actually his secret weapon of choice that extends into a threefold staff so that he can, pummel, criminals who are breaking the law.
Sadly, I haven't found any more Soul Edge fragments in many years. I probably should get back on that. That's bad, okay? That's bad. You should use demonic swords for evil, okay? But that aside, my secret double life aside, yeah, if you have a disability like this, even one like Eric's, where if I recall correctly, it's psychosomatic,
Yeah, he said it was a somatic
I
disorder.
mean, you should have it with you, just because, I mean, and this is my thing, if I don't have something with me, like if it's, if I'm like, oh, it's all right, I don't need, I don't need a hat, and inevitably it's going to rain. Or I'm like, I don't need a jacket, and then inevitably it's windy. Just, if I have it, I have it.
Yep.
I can take care of things. But if you don't have something, inevitably that's going to be the problem. And that's my experience.
Yeah, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
So, I mean, but the problem I would say with this is the fact that Ysolda already has kind of established that one of her phobias is skin-on-skin contact, which, I mean, I get, honestly. Being a huge germaphobe, I'm not huge on touching people. I know myself.
I get that. I 100% same page here.
I honestly have gotten in trouble with that before, being in a lot of customer service positions, and people will be like, "Oh, nice to meet you." It's like, why'd you hesitate? It's like, I really don't like touching people.
I don't like touching people I don't know, especially not strangers out in the wild with God only knows what on their hands.
Yes, I mean, no, I don't think you're morally wrong. It's just, this is the way I feel.
Yeah.
I get this. I get that sense that that's one of the things that she suffers from. And I mean, as I say, I understand, but I'm like, I really don't want... Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and this is going to, make, Snek probably laugh uproariously. Not really the biggest fan of, unduly punishing or teasing, ladies. So I'm like, this is kind of
if it's something that actually bothers them, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's just, just little things.
Little verbal bars is one thing, but she kind of reacted with that wasn't just a gross out, that was like a phobia. That was I do not want to make physical contact with you because something in me tells me not to. So I'm kind of moving towards we should probably try to stand up on our own and not bother her.
Yeah, I am kind of with you on that one.
Yeah.
I was just trying to explain my reasoning.
No, I get it. 100%. I stretch my bad leg out, rubbing the muscles in my thigh, and roll over so I can get my good leg under myself. I take a moment to gather myself, standing up. I stumble as I put weight on my bad leg, but manage to right myself. Good as new. I look down at myself, seeing all the dirt left on my new uniform. Can't help but smile a little at the situation. Well, a little worse for wear. Are you alright? I look back and see Ysolda holding an expression of concern towards me. I survived. That's good. She once again nods, but I'm a little surprised to see that she's smiling now. It's a smile so genuine that it hurts. I need to think of something to say. I need to go now. I don't want to keep Jeanne waiting. Just like that, she turns away from me, faces in the direction of the school dorm buildings. She starts to walk away, but I want to stop her. Ysolda? She stops and turns back to me, albeit a little confused. She doesn't say anything, and she doesn't even really look at me, but I know she's waiting for me to say something. I'll see you again later? Might seem weird to say, but I'm trying to meet some new people. A minor look of confusion crosses her face, though I hardly feel I've said anything perplexing. Ysolda pauses. Probably? She begins to turn away again, but I suddenly realize something important. No, I mean... She stops, and I force the words caught in my throat to come out. Maybe we could be friends, if that's alright. She's a little taken aback by my comment and takes a long pause. I wait. I wouldn't mind, but I really need to go. Of course. I should head back to my dorm room and change as well. Ysolda nods, her body slowly tilting the face away from me. I figure at this point it's hardly a malicious gesture. From first impressions, perhaps it's simply a part of who she is. That'd be a good idea before you get too cold or get mud inside anything important. It's an interesting comment, but nonetheless I can't help but crack a big grin. Right, no one would want that. Not even the mud, I imagine. Well then, goodbye, Eric. For now. She turns, and finally, after a moment of pause, she walks away for good. She doesn't look back. Just like that, I'm left covered in mud alone. The newfound energy, one even greater than my experience with Dr. Faber, I turn towards the other direction and make the trip back to my own dorm. I hardly even noticed my leg. Scared away the birds, find Isolde in the woods. The rest of my afternoon has been idly walking through the halls. My homework's mostly done, and I can hold off until after dinner. As I wander, my thoughts turn to the recent encounter I had with Isolde. I've made another friend, sort of. At least, I think that's what happened. It was hard to tell with her. Regardless, it's a valuable experience. I just hope that I can get more of them as I continue to go here. The hallways were mostly empty. The grounds outdoors tell a different story. Groups of students gather near the entranceways, walk together on the paths, and talk on their phones. It's a surprisingly social place, a common area for students to unwind after a day of stuffy classrooms. Come to think of it, if any of these students were like me for a time, I bet they'd crave a few minutes of the outdoors. Not being allowed to leave your room just to get some fresh air felt like part of you was stripped away. When I was able to get out of the hospital, fresh air felt like a luxury. I'm sure other students would feel the same way. My wanderings eventually take you back to the men's dorms. I have a bit of homework I can start on before dinner, so I head up to my room and get started. Today's coursework isn't too strenuous, just maths and a French essay I have to write. I can probably knock out the French essay first and start maths after dinner. Let's see. Write about the cause of the French Revolution. Well, the biggest problem was the French. Okay, simple enough. Use the new verb conjugations we learned this week to write your essay. Well, that could take a bit longer than I thought it would, so I'm going to open up my laptop and start typing. Okay, I can call this a good amount of progress now. Just in time, seeing that all the students outside appear to be heading out for dinner. Sighing, I extract myself from my chair and head over to get some food. More of the usual crowds here, with everyone gathered in haphazard line for tonight's meal. Eric, hi! Oh, hey Irene. Doing alright? More or less, you? She thinks for a bit as if analyzing my question. No, scratch that. She is analyzing my question. If I'd have to guess, I'm doing okay. You guess? Sure, you can't really tell other people how you're feeling after all. Haven't you read Tolstoy? Can't say that I have. Russian novels tend to be a bit of a downer, if you're being perfectly frank. Can't say I have. Could have sworn you at some point. Pretty sure I'd remember. Anyone want to eat dinner together? That was a quick segue. I don't see why not. Great, let's grab up and find a place to sit. The line in front of us makes that task take a bit longer than Irene's expecting. Finding our seats, thankfully, was a lot less difficult. The cafeteria's a lot bigger than I thought. Funny, it's what everyone says when they come here. Really? I mean, I certainly thought so. Vanilla confirmed the same story with me and some other students, and I figured that a large percentage of the student body thinks this place is smaller than it is. Fascinating. My food's getting cold, so I shovel a bite into my mouth while she continues. So I decided to take things into my own hands and investigate the cafeteria's dimensions, its feng shui, everything. And you know what I found out? I swallow, half curious about whatever secret this girl's about to reveal to me. What's that? It's the tables. They're 2 inches taller than other similar tables I could find online. Tables. Really? Irene nods. Turns out if you feel shorter, everything's bigger. It's subtle, but the effects are huge. Heh, that's what she said. I'm somewhat impressed that she did all that work, though I wonder just how much time that it took. And I gotta be wondering, just why were those tables so tall? What does the school gain from raising all the tables? I have absolutely no idea. Irene continues to think for a moment. Me neither, but I'm sure there's some interesting reason. Maybe they're just cheaper? Cheaper for more table? That doesn't make any sense, Eric. I guess. So I see you settled in quite well. How so? You seem pretty sociable. Do I? I don't feel like it. Trust me, I'm pretty sure. More sure about what I've been doing than me. I'm like 90% confident. Guess I gotta take your word for it. It's good though. Most transfers just do their own thing and never make any friends. It's pretty sad, to be honest. Wow. Like, there was this one girl who... Never mind. Now I'm curious. Irene refuses to elaborate and simply digs into her dinner, which must be cold at this point. Seeing no opportunity for conversation, I do the same. With our dinners complete and our trays returned, we begin to wander from the cafeteria. Are you going back to the dorms? Yeah, I got an assignment to work on. How about you? I have an assignment too. I'll see you around, Eric. Irene takes a hard left and starts walking along a patch of grass that I'm pretty sure you're not meant to walk on. Pretty sure that's not the way to the girls' dorms either. Wise or not, I leave the door to my room open for the first time while I run to the toilet and get ready for bed. The only person I can imagine sneaking in there to cause mischief is Irene, and she's filled her quota for the day. I'd say risk is relatively low. All washed and minty breathed, I returned to the room to find it seemingly unmolested. A minute later, my uniform traded for something a little more comfortable. I settled in some late-night web surfing. Mostly, though, my web surfing involves floundering around the shallows of my email, getting tired, and deciding to go to sleep instead. Tonight, aside from the ubiquitous daily newsletter, there's only one message to read. Mr. Wilhelm, if you'd be so kind, please stop by the classroom before class tomorrow morning. There are several things regarding your studies which I'd like to discuss with you. Best regards, Edna Clace. Short to the point, as I've come to expect with her. If to the point means being vague and conjuring up 1,001 possible horrible reasons for Clace to email me. Did I fail the first test? Am I failing? Getting expelled? All the above? This guy has enough social anxiety to be a Tomo bro. Jeez. Well, sitting here and worrying about it won't be good for my health. For a few more minutes, I click back through previous emails. I read a few older newsletters that I skipped over the first time and scan the What's New on Campus sections full of events that have already gone by. When I'm tired of that, I close up shop and take my metaphorical surfboard to bed. Surfboard? What? I don't know what to make of that. I've only been in class for a few days, and that I'm a new student here. Still, I hope that email I got doesn't mean anything serious
Silly
is going to
Snek.
happen. Silly Snek, what?
Silly Snek. He's talking about his surfboard. And he's like, people don't know that I'm the Silver Surfer.
Oh, of course. That would
Lord
explain...
Galactus will come and devour this planet.
That explains the casual depression.
I am a herald of one of the great eternal beings of the cosmos. I can conjure everything except a friend.
Oof.
Younger Dutaku, this guy is really depressing. Older Dutaku, OMG, he's me for FR.
Literally me, FR. I suppose there's no worrying about it this hour. Too tired to think about it too much. Before the rest of the students even arrive, I find her in my classroom where she's getting today's lesson plan ready. Good morning, Miss Clace. I got your email the last night. A little bit of a typo there. You had something to talk to me about.
The last night, that happened.
The last night, as in last night, the last night. Thanks for coming, Mr. Wilhelm.
Here's the thing. We need more grammatical, we need more grammar with strong bad.
It's probably a simple typo, but I don't know. Things like that stick out to me, I guess.
More strong bad. Strong bad. Just two words.
My mom always, Snek Mom, ingrained it in me from an early age that good grammar and punctuation were not negotiable. So I, even while texting, write in full, grammatically sound sentences.
I try to as well. The problem is that autocorrect, hates me.
Yeah, no, I turned mine off on my phone, honestly.
So we get, such wonderful things as, what was it? Stir a banana?
Stirs banana, yes.
Stirs banana. The legend of Stirs banana and melons.
Yep. Thank you for coming,
No,
Mr.
we are
Wilhelm.
not going to go into this.
No, it's not important. Thank you for coming, Mr. Wilhelm. I've been meaning to talk to you about your studies for a while. Is there something wrong? Might as well clear the air. No sense beating around the bush. No, Mr. Wilhelm, not at all. I asked you to come in before class because I would like to offer you some help in regards to your future schoolwork. Not as bad as I thought, I guess. What do you mean? So Divnus is a proud tradition of accommodating students who require study materials, resources, and on-campus tutoring. I think you could excel here, but after looking at your scores for your entrance exam, you could use some help. She's right on that one. Math and science never came easily to me. The only subjects I excelled at were history and geography, mainly because of my interest in hiking and being outdoors. It also doesn't help that this antidepressant I'm on causes drowsiness too. It's tough getting out of bed, let alone staying awake in class. Pretty sure Miss Clace has noticed that part by now. If possible, I'd like for you to...
Eric, I hate to tell you this, that's not called your antidepressant. That's just called being an adolescent male.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, come in. Oh, the best girl has returned. Everyone, may the trumpets resound.
Woo! Yeah, woo!
Thank you. So outside, a girl enters a room. Surprisingly, I've met her before. Jeanne? Oh, hello, Eric. You two have met. Yes, we're in the same physical education class. One could say we had an impactful encounter, so to speak. Got a little bit of
easy.
Little bit of Natalia rubbing off on you there, Eric.
Easy there, Tiger.
I see. That makes things a bit easier.
This is a Christian organization in a Christian
Yeah,
game.
that's true. That makes things a bit easier because you know each other already. What brings you here, Jeanne? As I've been saying previously, we have on-campus tutors for students that need an extra hand with assignments. Miss... Oh boy. Lefebvre? I'm sorry, guys. French is a bit of a weak spot for me.
Hold on. Let me... I will... Here's the thing. It's funny. You know, both sides of my family are French. I ironically don't speak French. I speak German.
Yeah, you see, in our high school, we had the option between 3 foreign languages, and those languages were Spanish, French, and German. And the thing is...
so that's supposed to be...
Say again?
Go ahead. I have the pronunciation if you want to hear it.
Yes, please.
It's supposed to be Lefebvre.
Lefebvre. All right.
Lefebvre. Yes, it's...
I will...
Yeah, that's how that's supposed to be pronounced.
I will do my best. I mean, we could just call her Mrs. Snek and be done with it, but maybe that's jumping the gun a tiny bit.
That is jumping the gun a tad. I think you're missing a few things. I believe there's supposed to be like a courtship. There's supposed to be, you gain a better understanding of
no.
who she
See,
is.
I give her dad some donkeys and some horses and some chickens, and then we're married.
No. See, Snek, she's Austrian. You have to give him a pig.
Oh, yes, of course. What was I thinking? Yes.
I'm just saying, the Germans have this weird fascination with pigs.
I mean, true. I'm hard-pressed to argue that.
And there's going to be one Austrian guy who's like, we're not German. It's like, you're not politically German. You're culturally German.
It's like, you guys are really, really similar, and the more of your VTubers I'm finding, the more I'm pretty confident that culturally you're almost exactly the same. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that you share a cultural heritage, and there's nothing wrong with that.
What Snek is saying is that the Holy Roman Empire, lives on in our hearts, and we need to, reestablish it in order to further the cause of Christendom.
Agreed. She's one of the few student tutors.
10th Crusade now.
New Peasant Crusade. The story about our school. You see, we've probably talked about this in the past, but a little thing I may not have mentioned is my sister, being 5 years my elder, when she went to our high school, there was actually an American Sign Language class, which I actually helped her study for. And when I got to high school, I wanted to take that class too. But it turns out, like right before I arrived, the teacher had actually transferred to one of the local universities to teach ASL at that level. So that wasn't an option. So I considered my options, and most of my friends were taking Spanish. And I, contrarian that I am, considered that my father had taken German when he was a young man. And I was like, you know what? I want to take German too. And lo and behold, by sheer coincidence, I was put in the desk next to a plucky young Pugum lad. And this plucky young Pugum turned to me and said, "Do you like anime?" And I was like, do I like anime? He's like, "Oh God, you went to the Hideo Kojima School of Writing." And I was like, "The Hideo Kojima School of Writing?" And yeah, a friendship forged in fire was born that day.
Forged an atomic Schifferversinken.
Because, if you're going to play Battleship, what better way is there to play than with nukes? It certainly sped the game up, let me tell you.
I'm going to say this. We did that, and it threw our teacher for a loop, and she's like, okay, these are the rules for nuclear missiles, but you only get one, and you have to do the conjugations for each verb, because the way you did it is you had to, each row would be a certain tense, and I want to say the rows were tenses, the columns were the number of people, and so you'd have to conjugate the verb that way.
Right.
And so she's like, you have to conjugate for each, row you're hitting. And so that was our thing. We're like, okay. And so we were basically, I was the instigator. I would be like, all right, but what about aircraft? You would get aircraft. It's just like, fine, you can get aircraft. But,
You ever get the
And so that was
sense
the
that
thing.
the Tomo Bros are a bit autistic? Because we are.
We kind of are. We really are.
I asked her to assist with your schoolwork. I recommend you try studying with Jeanne for a few sessions. If it's not something you like, we can work out something else for you. No, Miss Glace. There is no need to consider something else. This plan is perfect, and I embrace this 100%. Absolutely no complaints whatsoever. 10 out of 10. No notes.
Oh, I wish you luck. With your romantic liaisons. But I say that to everyone.
I say that to every student. Well, what have I got to lose? It's not often that things like this happen. Free help with schoolwork, that is. And I would probably have asked for help at some point during the school year. How bad could it be? All right, I'll give it a shot. That settles it, Jeanne. Why don't you set up a schedule with Eric here? I'll leave you to it. Yes, ma'am. Jeanne turns to me, handing me a small folder. Since I'm going to tutor you, I'd like to ask you a few questions just to break the ice a little. It's too early for an interview, but I did say I'll try this. I try to suppress a yawn, but fail. Okay, go ahead. Great. First question, where are you from? Baselstadt. I lived on the outskirts. Oh, Switzerland. I hear it's beautiful there. Yeah, actually, it's quite nice in the fall, plus the Alps are a short drive away. That's wonderful. I've never been to the Alps. Did you go hiking there? Well, I did, but that's what landed me here. Jeanne probably doesn't want to know about that day that day one, though. My family did a lot of it when I was younger. There are a lot of trails in that area. What about you? Where are you from? Couldn't you tell? I'm a proud French woman. Well, there goes our Belgian theory. She speaks the last syllables with an exaggeration of her admittedly light French accent. So she went like the Maurice Chauvier. That's my headcanon here.
You know what? Here's the thing, Professor.
What's that?
Here's the thing about that.
What's that?
You laugh, but I am not kidding you. I had started listening to French disco from the 80s.
Okay.
And I am not joking you. It is not no exaggeration that they do the haw 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 haw. That is literally how they laugh.
Well,
so they're like, oh, this is a stereotype. It's like, this is literally what you do with your own pop culture. Okay, I am just saying.
Better or worse than the medium.
Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, there is nothing. We Americans had nothing to do with, Tony Berlin. Okay, that they. I'm just saying. So.
Like all I was saying is like, yeah, you can argue about stereotypes, but most stereotypes are founded on truth. And so like now just like,
yeah,
is it better or worse than the, Lamau is how French people laugh.
That's so Lamau.
Sort of.
I'm just also saying. It is really good, and they need to like work faster.
It's a small team.
I want to see gun art online. Okay, I'm just so sick and tired of their them trying to make this like LARPing thing with the current Elfheim thing. It's whatever. Yeah.
Not the place, right?
Yeah. Anyways,
so we have
that being said.
We have concluded Jeanne is
I was going to
French. We now know that. Of course, her last name
kind of
gives that away.
Well, that means she would either be from France or a particular section of the Low Countries, because basically if you're in French in Europe, it is only really spoken in France and in the basically southern easterly section of Belgium, the Netherlands, that basically like historically Burgundy,
right?
But we don't go into that because Burgundy is one of those sections that it's traded hands a lot. There's a reason why, if you're ever thinking to yourself like, gee, why did the Spanish literally have the entire gold of the Aztecs, all the gold of the Incas, all the gold of South America, and now you look at Spain, you're like, you guys have nothing. What happened to you? It's because they were waging war in Burgundy in the 16th century. Except they couldn't go through France. They actually had to go through Italy. And if you're just holding out your hands going, boys, why? Welcome to the wars of religion. It was stupid, and if I explain it more, it's going to be even more stupid.
I mean, let's just say pride goeth before the fall.
Yeah, definitely.
She speaks the last syllables with an exaggeration of her admittedly light French accent. I honestly forgot, but I do recall her having a slight lilt to her voice when we met in physical education the other day. I'm from the West Coast, near Nantes. So, there we go. We have a slightly...
Oh, she's near Carcassonne then.
Okay.
Oh, that's cute.
Explain the significance of that to a dum-dum like me.
Carcassonne?
Yes. I don't know a great deal about French history. I will just go ahead and confess to that.
It's just a city on the coast, on the southern. Actually, no. I'm sorry. I'm getting my my geography mixed up. If I remember correctly, Carcassonne is actually on the southeast section of France. Okay. But the importance of that is that it is a incredibly dense, complex city, and this is actually a impetus. I don't think you and I ever played it. This is a great German game. It is it's called Carcassonne, and the entire thing is what you're trying to do is you're trying to build your own walled city, and you basically are given a bunch of little cardboard tiles, and you basically play them, and you're supposed to. It's kind of like the Pipe Dream game in Microsoft, where you're given you have straight, you have curves, you have loop-de-loops, and you're basically trying to produce a series of closed sections, and you get points for doing your closed sections. But you also need to have a certain number of farmlands around your cities in order to feed them. Okay. And on top of that, you're also given a single little pig. And the thing with the pig, though, is that if you put a pig on a particular farmland, you are claiming that section. This kind of just goes to show you how German this game is. On top of the fact that the rules mention very specifically that if two players have the same number of victory points at the end of the game, they both win, meaning they both. And this is word for word how it is in the manual. They rejoice in their shared victory.
Okay.
If you can find it, it's actually on Amazon. It's a really great game.
Okay.
I definitely recommend it. It's really good. It's really cute. It's kind of like Settlers of Catan, and one of those it's very simple to learn how to play it. It is devastatingly difficult to master because you have to get the tiles at random, and that can completely alter the way you play. So
that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's South France is a fascinating place because it's kind of in a different environmental belt than northern France.
Okay.
A lot more Mediterranean, and so you'll notice actually traditionally they had a very different regional dialect than Parisian French, which is the French that you know now because
High French, right?
During the 17th century, Cardinal Richelieu introduced the Academy of Language, which basically formalized Parisian French as French, which still exists today, by the way. Fun thing.
Okay, that's good to know.
So,
we're learning so much today, class.
Yeah.
Well then, bonjour to you.
As much as they like to... I was going to say, just one last thing.
All right.
The French, as much as they like to dunk on the Germans, they're not quite so different.
The Gauls came from a Germanic tribe, so yeah, they're literally not.
Yeah. Okay, that's all.
Bonjour to you too, mademoiselle.
I don't speak French all that well. I think those are the two best words I can say reliably, to be perfectly honest. That's okay. I think you sound fine. Okay, now ask me a question. Anything you want to learn about me, go ahead. I think my question is, why is my kitten standing on top of my CPU tower when she knows she doesn't belong there?
Father, it is warm on tower.
I mean, maybe. I think they're hungry. I'm going to feed them here in a little bit. You know, there's only one thing I was interested in learning about, come to think of it. You mentioned to me you had Tourette's, right? Uh-huh, that's right. Not to offend, but is yours different than others? You mean different from how the media plays it out? Constant swearing at the end of my sentences, randomly twitching and screaming? Yeah, that. Well, that's actually a very small percentage of cases. Most people with Tourette's are more like me. I've got a little motor tic and a weird thing called echopraxia. I'm not familiar with that word. Echopraxia. Okay, Eric's in the same boat as me, so maybe we'll get a bit more. Happens rarely. Sometimes I'll follow someone's arm or leg movements without me realizing it. I dropped things, bumped into people. Oh, that's why you bumped into me the other day. Guilty as charged. I was following along with the exercise and I sort of lost my footing when I moved wrong. Sorry, again. No need to apologize. It's not like I'll keel over from being bumped by someone.
I'm just saying that's kind of that is a very common. I mean, people, you know, that people will do that just unconsciously too. They'll note if you do something and you're very confident about what you're doing, people will follow along with you. That's kind of the reason why flash mobs were a thing for a hot minute.
Yep.
Just because, if you're doing something and you're, looking cool, people will be like, I want to be with that cool guy. Because we're social animals at heart.
Yep. Also, if you are with someone that you like and they are walking in a particular gait, you're more likely to match their gait and walk in sync with them. Like, even little things, like you're not even really consciously thinking about it. Like, if someone has their hand on their hip while they're talking, and it's someone that you like or want to impress, you're likely to mimic their movement and do the same thing. It's just a thing that we all do to some greater or lesser extent, but it sounds like Jeanne's version of it is a lot more exaggerated and harder to control.
I suppose if she has to do, constantly think not to do that.
Yeah, that'd be frustrating. That'd be a lot. Thanks for sharing. I'm sure it's not easy sharing that. Actually, I'm okay with it. Lots of my classmates asked about it when I first transferred here. Though for some people, it would be. Students have varying degrees of openness. I just happen to be more open about my Tourette's. It's something I've come to terms with, and I do my best to make sure I can answer everyone's questions. After all, I'll be tutoring you, part of my job to answer questions. I wish I could have the same attitude about my problems. Jeanne's honesty is really refreshing, especially at this hour. That's really cool, Jeanne. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. I'm always happy to help. Now I'd like to ask you a question. Sure, ask away. Do you have any hobbies? Anything unique? How do I answer this one tastefully? Yeah, I used to hike until I fell off a mountain. I do a lot of outdoors stuff. My family, specifically my brother, got me into it. Okay, that'll do. Mostly hiking nowadays. Not bad. Other than that, not much else. I'm glad there's a walking trail here on campus, so I'd probably get some kind of cabin fever. Sounds like a very involved hobby. I walk the trails too. It's where my club meets up. Oh, I run the astronomy club here on campus, so I'm used to going out to do some stargazing. Really? That sounds pretty interesting. What do you all do? The way I run things, we generally do research activities to learn more about topics related to astronomy. We also do bi-monthly stargazing sessions using telescopes. Wow, almost sounds like another class from the way you describe it. I'm not as strict as
she's an astrophysicist.
That's for sure. It's pretty laid back, but I try my best to encourage participation. How long have you been doing it? I became president only recently, but I've been in the club my whole time here. It's been a lot of fun. Maybe joining a club full-time wouldn't be half bad. The newspaper club is at least led by Lena, who's probably just as passionate about journalism as Jeanne is about astronomy. Jeanne's giving me something to think about. No, we're joining the astronomy club, Eric. Shut up. Stop arguing. This is important for your development as a person. I'm glad you had fun with your club. That's really neat stuff you're doing.
You can't see it, but I'm making a face. It is the judgment face.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I sure think so.
Oh, I've done it many times as you.
Yes, I'm aware. Jeanne reaches into her bag.
Always kind of do the same laugh.
She reaches into her bag
exactly that one.
and opens a small notebook. Before I forget, let's see. My schedule's pretty open today for tutoring. How about we meet at the school library 17:30? Works for me. I don't have anything going on after school. Perfect. See you later, Eric. Gotta get to my next class. Sounds good. See you later. Okay, bye. Jeanne makes her exit. Did Jeanne leave already? Yeah, she had to get to class. I see. Take your seat for now, Eric. Your class needs to be here in a minute. I have to say, that went better than I thought it would. Jeanne wasn't what I expected from a student tutor. Nothing like the hard-nosed stuff shirts I had as tutors in my old school. It's still disappointing to know that the administration has already figured out that I'm not the best student. Maybe I'm putting too much weight on this morning's meeting, but I'd like to think that I could have faked the star student role for at least a week. Maybe I can turn it around today. Yeah, if I keep telling myself that, I'm sure it will happen. Small victories are already starting to pile up, so I managed to make my way to my seat without embarrassing myself while everyone else filters into the class for homeroom. The morning's announcements pass by with little fanfare, and before I know it, it's time for maths. About half the class gets up to leave, the others staying behind. I soon replaced by other students, and among them I spot my neighbor from last time, the girl with the perpetual earphones. She just over to her desk next to mine without looking around, seemingly unaware of the world around her. While I might still be at the stage of not quite being able to put a name to every student, I'm starting to recognize quite a few faces. I'm sure I haven't seen her a single time since Monday. Taking a chance, I give her a wave and a nod and greeting. I had expected she might not notice at all with her headphones already in, but she falters for a moment, and the slightest flicker of movement in her hand that I choose to interpret as a wave, and a glance in my direction tells me she did. Before I can say good morning, though, Miss Clays purposely clears her throat, needing to do nothing more to signal the start of class. Once everyone has settled down, she begins to lecture on a body of mathematics I'm completely unfamiliar with. Last lesson covered topics I already knew, but this time it's all fresh. Still, I think I can handle this. Amazingly, I managed to stay awake throughout the entire lecture, and I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on the subject matter. As I start to work on the practice problems, I notice the girl next to me is once again listening to music, this time under her hood. Was she listening to music during the lecture? Maybe she doesn't even need to be in this class. She certainly seems to be writing plenty and with confidence. That said, she could just be doodling meaninglessly like last time. Her hand movements do have that distracted, erratic look about them. I'm actually a little proud of myself. I managed to get through all of the problems with very little difficulty. Maybe I could even get to like maths a little. Okay, that might be pushing it. I give my answers one last look through along with everyone else as Miss Clay stands back up in front of the board to wrap up the class. I notice the girl next to me is still listening to music now with her eyes closed. Does she know class is almost over? People are already packing their bags and getting ready to leave, and she doesn't seem to notice. Does she just have her music really loud, or are her headphones those fancy noise-canceling ones? Maybe she's just really good at tuning out the world. I better try to get her attention. Apparently I'm the only one who's noticed her. Hey. Nothing. Class is almost over. No response. I suppose I should have expected that at this point. I noticed Fran laughing and shaking their head across the room. Nice to know they have my back on this one. I feel like I need to get her attention somehow. She's going to miss the homework assignment, and somehow I doubt she'd be able to ask anyone what it was. Alright, we're going to save. Honestly, between these options...
I feel like we need to pass a note.
Yeah, that does seem like the nicest way of going about it. In real life, I would give up and just be like, it's fine, she probably has it under control. But passing a note is a nice, subtle, harmless way of trying to help. The world doesn't exist to her. I need some physical way of getting her attention, but actually touching her might be a bit much. Maybe a note? Man, passing notes in class like I'm 14 again. What's right, class is almost over. It'd probably do the trick, but... perfectly...
Oh man, I'm so over it. Being 16, I'm so...
Shit. Oh, no. Now, I've already grown in my beard and mustache and fought in 3 wars as a veteran of the old people wars.
You fought the meme wars? Yes, I was once a meme knight, much like your father.
Perfectly enunciated voice swims into my mind, goading me for being so predictable. What would Catch ask?
Professor. I'm just saying, Professor. Once, Snek niece, gets old enough, I bet you were going to do that. You too are going to find an opportunity to see a young, gullible little child, and she's going to ask you questions, and you're going to just tease the ever-loving snot out of her.
Probably. Almost certainly.
Well, what do you mean Santa doesn't pay taxes? That's right. Santa doesn't pay taxes because he is a sovereign citizen.
I quickly scribble out a question. Hey, what are you listening to today? And slide it across her desk. This does the trick. She looks up, more dazed and surprised, as though someone has disturbed a pleasant dream. Realizing what has happened, her eyes shoot open.
How dare you stop my Doobie Brothers mixtape?
Oof. Her eyes shoot open, and she comes perilously close to making eye contact with me. For a moment, I feel like I've made a mistake, and she looks kind of shocked. But when I glance down at the note, she follows my line of sight, and she actually looks pleased. In fact, that might have been the biggest smile I've seen on her yet. Not that it's saying much, but still, it's something. She leans over and shows me the screen on her phone.
Quite the lack of a smile. It's like the opposite of a smile.
Yeah, I guess you gotta take it where you can get it, right? Another artist, album, and song I've never heard of. Today's album art is a very blue scene with a snowy mountain behind a lake with a flock of swans. I don't recognize it. I'm hardly a music buff, but I feel as though I definitely wouldn't be alone in not having a clue what it is. I also have no idea which of the few words in the cover is the artist and which is the album. My brain scrambles a little, trying to think of a worthwhile response to this, but nothing forthcoming. A lame cool is all I can muster, which I don't bother saying.
That is kind of a problem I too suffer from. I was saying that is something that I suffer from too, especially with modern artists.
Right. In any case, I managed to get her attention without annoying her. That's a start, at least. She plucks out her headphones as if expecting me to say something. Pressure's on. I decided to avoid my lack of musical knowledge completely. By the way, I never got your name. The girl ponders this question for a second before flipping over the note I passed her and scribbling something. She finishes and slides it back to me. Annalise Coel. Just the name and nothing else? Annalise. At least that's one mystery solved. I look back up at her smiling. Again, she fails to look me in the eye, but looks a little pleased with herself nonetheless. Before I get the chance to respond, though, a shadow falls over my desk. Miss Clays peers ominously at the note lying on my desk and quietly asks me to see her after class. Screw me for trying to communicate with my fellow students, I guess. It's not like there's any other way of talking to this girl. You could have just left well enough alone, to be fair. My gaze follows Miss Clays as she pads back to her desk, unfolding the note. As she looks down at the creased piece of paper in her hand, she hesitates for a moment, as if second-guessing herself, and glances briefly back at Annalise and I. Without saying anything else, though, she clears her throat and goes about explaining today's homework assignment. For a moment, I wonder why I even bothered writing the thing. Annalise doesn't seem to care all that much about talking to me. She smiled, sure, but her note was hardly receptive, and now I'm probably going to get in some sort of undeserved reprimand at the end of class. When I shift my gaze to her, though, the guilty expression on her face melts any animosity I felt towards her. She clearly feels bad about getting me in trouble. It's not like Miss Clace is going to find anything incriminating on the note either. A trivial question and a name. Nobody's going to get in trouble for that, although the teacher's strange hesitation is still playing on my mind a little. After another few seconds of looking a little uneasy, Annalise takes a chance to pass me another note while Miss Clace has her back turned. Sorry. And when I raised my vision again, she started to put her headphones back in and apparently tuned out the world. Man, Annalise, way to lay on the guilt trip. How did one word make me feel like the bad guy? You said you needed to see me. It's not about the note, is it? Of course it's about the note, Eric. Yes, don't think. I hadn't forgotten what you said this morning. I wasn't neglecting the class or anything. I know, I really paid attention to this lesson. I think I did really well on the workbook questions, and I'm going to do that homework assignment straight away this evening. I'm sure you did. That's not what you said this morning. Stop right there, Mr. Wilhelm. You aren't in trouble. I'm not? No, you're not. I just want to say, well, I don't mean to be nosy or anything, but I notice how sensitive you've been with Miss Coel in this lesson and the last. I'm quite impressed. What's impressive about it? How can I put this? Annalise hasn't had the easiest time at St. Dimphna's. I'm sure she appreciates you interacting with her while giving her some space. It's a difficult balance to strike. I probably shouldn't have said anything. It's Annalise's business and yours, not mine. Just keep it up, Eric. I'm sure you're going to fit in well here. Oh, and well done on today's lesson. I did notice you working hard on the practice questions. This makes me feel disproportionately proud. I'm just glad she noticed. Thanks, I tried. I hope you continue to bear with what we talked about this morning in mind. Off you go now. With an uncharacteristically warm smile, Miss Clace returns to a stack of papers on her desk and gets marking. I swing my bag over my shoulder and turn to exit. I do notice someone slip out the door just before me, the last to leave, looked like Annalise. Had she been hanging back to listen to our conversation or something? The way she left, slinking silently from the room, leads me to believe she was trying to be covert. Then again, there's nothing I haven't seen her do silently. I wonder if I should try to catch up with her, judging from what Miss Clace said she could do with a friend. Would she appreciate that? Part of me thinks calling after her and trying again to make conversation would just be an inconvenience to her. I jog a little to catch up with her. With her headphones in, it looks like she didn't hear me coming, but as I come up alongside her, she notices me in her peripheral vision and looks in my direction. I was expecting her reaction to be one of shock, but instead she seems relatively unfazed by my presence. She even raises her hand slightly in greeting and slips her headphone out of her ears. Hey, Annalise. She doesn't say anything. Fair enough. What have you got next? She pulls out her phone and taps a few times by showing me the screen with her timetable open. Ah, history. Nice. She shrugs. Not your thing? She doesn't have much of a response. I kind of like it. Learning how people lived in the past is fascinating. She pauses for a second, then taps something out on her phone's notes, again showing me the screen when she's done. Prof. Oshner is awful, though. Okay, fair enough. He's not the most inspiring. Have you heard the crap he listens to while we're working? Oh, I know, 70s Swedish pop music. Why? I grin. Maybe you should subtly recommend him some headphones that don't leak so badly, huh? It's painful. She laughs, forcefully exhales through her nose, smiles faintly at the floor. This is decidedly the weirdest way I've interacted with someone. Is Annalise physically mute, or is it purely psychological? I think of asking her, and once again that sweet, trilling tone of Katya's floats through my head. But it'd be tactful to ask something like that straight up. Depends on the person, right? On the impression I have of them so far, and in this case, I let my gut do the thinking. Annalise, can you... I realize as soon as I open my mouth, this is a terrible question, but now I'm committed. How can I reword this without looking like an idiot? Speak? No. Apparently there is no way to reword it without sounding like a tit. She doesn't seem to mind, though. She nods. But you don't. She shakes her head, looking a little sheepish. Okay, well, how about this? Give me your number, then we don't have to keep communicating like this. It's kind of awkward. I'm not sure what drove me to be so forward. If I'm being honest, I barely know this girl. Why am I trying so hard to communicate with her? Because people are often drawn to things they can't have? I don't know. Guess I'm done being a bystander. So far, basically everybody I've spoken to in the school has been because I was told to speak to someone by someone else, or because they spoke to me first. I need some license. The spurt of sudden confidence. It must be something to do with what Miss Clay said, even though it's kind of weird. I feel like I'm doing the right thing. Study Annalise's face. She still refuses eye contact with me, but I can see she's thinking hard. Her features are far from inscrutable. When she isn't focused on something making herself unnoticed, her face is surprisingly expressive. Apparently coming to a conclusion, she reaches out and I pass her my phone. A few taps later, she hands it back. Number required. After a second's pause, I send her a text. Thanks. She pulls out her own phone, checks it, smiles, and taps out a reply of her own. Good to finally be able to talk to you. Has she been waiting for this or something? I look up at her, and before I can help myself, I laugh and escapes my lips at the absurdity of our exchange. Still, if exchanging text messages while standing right next to one another is how Annalise is, then so be it. Feeling a little awkward, I decide it's best to reply via text myself as well. You too. Another silent laugh. She must appreciate my replying in her medium. As we reach a fork in the corridor, Annalise and I need to part ways. Our next classes are different. I pause for a second, wondering what to say. See ya, Annalise. She's a small wave and heads off. A few seconds later, my phone buzzes. A text from Annalise. Bye. And then a second. Just call me Anna, by the way. Annalise is way too long and old-fashioned as hell. Anna it is, then. I wonder if she'll even be able to speak to me. As Anna rounds a corner out of sight, my mind begins to drift elsewhere. I feel a presence behind me. A foreboding tint and somehow non-gender-specific presence. It's Fran. I can feel it. Acting on impulse, I whip around and point dramatically at the figure behind me. Fran! It isn't Fran. Small boy standing behind me, at least a foot shorter than I am, looks terrified. Before I have to take any action myself, though, a hand is placed gently on the boy's shoulder. Sorry about Eric, chap. He's just been going through quite an ordeal. Run along now. Not needing any further prompting, the boy departs, delighted to get away from me and melt into the crowd. Grinning ear to ear, Fran turns to me and chuckles. Oh, Eric. Oh, my sweet precious child. You are persistent, aren't you? I can guess what they're thinking about, but I'm not going to give them the benefit. What are you talking about? Come on, Wilhelm, it's so obvious. You were listening in on my conversation? Thought that was Fran's dialogue. I don't know why I did my Fran voice there. Fran chuckles again. I realize why almost immediately. What conversation? There was nothing to listen to. Bless you both, though. It was very sweet. You're really working hard on winning her over, aren't you? Those you'll give up after a few minutes, let alone a few days. Personally, I can never tell if that's what she wants or not. Pluming at the hidden depths of a selective mute doesn't appeal. I can see where they're coming from. Communicating with Annalise wasn't exactly easy. No? How come? I just don't have the time for it, sweetie. All strength to her. She's happy to keep doing what she's doing, but talking to her is more of a challenge than I want to take on. Still, it should be much easier for you now, right? I feel apprehensive about this. What does Fran know? What are you talking about, Fran? Come on, Eric. I saw you give her your phone, getting numbers already, and you've been here less than a week, you sly dog, you. That. Didn't even think about getting Annalise's phone number as, well, getting a girl's number. It was just the simplest way of talking to her. Still, that's what Fran wants to believe. You have to admit, I got game. They laugh uproariously. The sound of their laugh is much more than a wry chuckle, causing everyone in the hall to turn and look. After a few more seconds, they wipe a few tears from their eyes theatrically and look back at me. Oh, honey, you weren't being serious, were you? I wasn't being serious. Well, who's to say I couldn't have been being serious? What are you implying? Definitely nothing at all. I don't know what you're talking about. You definitely have game. Those words pour from their mouth, their grin belying their sincerity. Anyway, Eric, good for you. Well done. Well done. Their voice still coy, Fran's expression softens a little, and this time they do sound sincere. Your perseverance, it's heartwarming, chap. Before I can ask them why they decided to say this, Franz turned around and calls over their shoulder as they trot away, giggling mischievously. See you in class, Wilhelm. I share my next class with them as well. Damn. For now, though, I'm on my own once again. Is the fact that I tried to talk to Annalise really such a big deal? First Miss Clace and now Fran. Who else is going to interrogate me about this? All this questioning makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. It's certainly not helping that constant nagging feeling of forever being an outsider. But then, why should I let that stop me? I thought that feeling is going to go away on its own anytime soon, like Miss Clace said. Annalise must appreciate it. Something good is coming from it, at least. I wonder if she feels as much of an outsider as I do. My head now swimming with even more indistinct thoughts and doubts ahead to my next class, still somehow buoyed by Miss Clace and Fran's encouragement. Might be a bit weird, but it feels like I'm doing the right thing. There's a certain je ne sais quoi about the way the school bell punctuates the end of French class. I'm glad to be liberated from the droning of the instructor, for one, but I'm also a bit apprehensive about lunch. I had to find a rhythm with it, and while I don't mind variety, I prefer it to be my choice. Can't say I feel much control over how my lunches go yet. Each one is still a crapshoot between eating alone and being roped in some conversation with people I hardly know. All just another step to finding my place here, I suppose. With a heavy sigh, I set off, lumbering toward the cafeteria. My protesting leg delayed me so long that everyone else already disappeared down some hall or another. It doesn't bother me, since it's not like I'd be talking to most of them anyway. Maybe I'll run into one of the few familiar faces at lunch, though. I'll make an effort to find someone. I shouldn't, don't want to, get in the habit of eating on my own or waiting for someone to feel sorry for me. One good thing about being slow is that by the time I arrive, the worst of the lunch rush is gone. People are either seated or taking their food elsewhere, and I can step through the line nice and quick. After a short wait, I get a hearty portion from a pleasant, portly serving lady. I thank her and turn around to survey the tables. Right, who do I know? None of the students seated on the nearby side seem familiar. I can't spot Ella's bushy hair, nor Fran's perpetual smirk, nor Natalia's blonde bob. Maybe they're obscured somewhere in the crowd, but somehow I doubt it. They're all quite distinctive in appearance. I weave around chairs and edge to the opposite side of the cafeteria, craning my neck and continuing my survey. There has to be at least one person I know here. For a moment, I'm hit with a self-conscious twinge of anxiety. I must look pitiful, staring in every direction on my own. I have to shake my head to dismiss the thought. I'm just looking for a friend, right? That's not so strange. Everyone does that. Resuming my search, my eyes reach the far corner of the cafeteria. Last chance. Aha! A thick head of strawberry blonde tells me all I need to know. Katja's there, sitting with a few of her friends. Conveniently, there's a free spot across from her. I hesitate at the sight of the others. If Katja's busy talking to them, maybe it's best to leave her alone. I'd hate to force myself into a situation where I'm not welcome. Still, I decided I wouldn't be eating alone, and it looks like Katja's my only chance at that. I'll have to trust that she'll turn me away gently if it's a problem. I step past the last of the furniture between me and the corner table and stop at the near end. Noticing me, Katja breaks off from her conversation and gives the tray in my hands a glance. Hello, Eric. My intuition tells me you're looking for a seat. Actually, I was planning on standing here indefinitely. It's performance art. I see. Far be it for me to interfere with your brilliance, but would you care to join us? She motions at the open spot across from her. I suppose I could, if you insist. Then I insist. I shrug in mock indifference, setting my food down and taking the seat. Thanks, I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Not at all. We're discussing the choir's plans for the gala. It can wait. However, introductions are in order. Everyone, this is Eric Wilhelm, the recent transfer student in Miss Clace's class. Eric? She begins to motion at each of the others in turn. This is Gretchen, Henrietta, and Teresa. They're fellow members of the choir. I nod and blink, making a concerted effort to engrave the names and faces into my head. I will probably fail. They all smile at me, and we commence the usual pleasantries for a few minutes. By the time we're done, however, I confirm that I've completely forgotten their names. I temporarily number them 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully I'll be reminded of their names before it's obvious that I've forgotten. Katja motions to them before I can say anything, and they resume the conversation on their own. It seems she anticipated my discomfort. I gave her a prayer of thanks for sparing me from the inevitable awkwardness. Now she looks back at me with interest, chin resting on her hands. It's a look of respectful attention, the same one she seems to maintain every time we speak. There's something genuine about it, but also something detached, as though she wants to keep a little distance. I know it's only been a day, but I have to ask, how have you been? Ironically, a lot happened over the past day. The question risks sending me down a rabbit hole of recollection. It feels impolite to vent to someone who might be a new friend, but she did ask. I swallowed the food I've been munching on and answer. I'm getting by, you know? It's still a bit overwhelming orienting myself here. Of course. These things are always difficult to begin with. I only hope you know that there are many here willing to help if you're ever feeling lonely in the midst of it all. Right. That's actually why I came here, sort of, to this table specifically. Oh? I decided to look for someone I knew at lunch. It took a while, but I managed to spot you here in the corner. So in a way, I guess this is me taking your advice, for it was given, and trying not to be alone. Lonely, not alone. The distinction is important. You may want to be alone, but it's terrible to feel lonely. Regardless, I'm happy to hear that, and I'm glad I've managed to be of assistance. When you put it that way, it sounds so sterile. My apologies. It's an occupational hazard. Occupational hazard? Of what occupation? Being me. She said this with a giggle, but it was that getting her to laugh is satisfying. Feels like a sign that I'm doing something right in my interactions with the people here. You're about to tell me your day, how your past day went, though. I swear, I'm literate. Well, it was eventful. Eventful. Good or bad kind of eventful. Bit of both, I think. There were many events. She raises an eyebrow, and I feel her eye bore into me, not with any malice, but with a healthy dose of sarcasm. Would you like to discuss any of these events, or shall I continue to prompt you and advance this conversation in sentence-length episodes? I had my first appointment with Dr. Faber, for one. See, that's plenty already. It was. I had my own expectations, and to be honest, he defied them. I was pleasantly surprised. I came in cynical about the whole thing, but I left genuinely feeling a little better and hopeful. I didn't think it would affect me so quickly. The DF therapy seemed dark and mysterious to me, and I'm starting to realize I may have been wrong. May have, but you wouldn't be the first to make that mistake. I was apprehensive about my first session, if I'm honest. Really? Really? I'm glad you had a good first experience with Dr. Faber. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the next time. That's kind of progress in itself. Maybe, I guess. I think so. That was the first of multiple events. Shall I ask about the next? I still feel guilty unloading my worries on Katja, but she seems happy to talk about them. I'm also feeling better having started this conversation. Katja has a good sense for what to say. I guess I don't have any reason to stop now. You remember how we first met? You asked me about my sandwich. Yes. You called it protocol. I've been trying to do something similar myself and think I might be getting the hang of it. I ran into someone on my way back from the appointment yesterday, and I want to say I did all right. It was a bit awkward, but I was able to talk to the person without making too much of a fool of myself. That's certainly progress from our first meeting. I'm pleased to hear it. Yeah, I guess I'm learning how to gauge people better. Despite the rocky start, my run-in with Isolda definitely went better than the first 2 times I tried to talk to Anna. Sometimes you have to know when not to try and engage someone. These are the little lessons I have to learn along the way. Before I came here, I thought I could just get by just being upfront with everyone I met, but I'm beginning to understand it's not so simple. Sometimes people need a little space. Katja tilts her head almost like she's surprised at my comments. That's very insightful of you. There's some brain behind all this brawn, you know. Of course, it doesn't have much to hide behind after all. Wow, rude. You'll forgive me. And yes, you're right. A conversation with a stranger isn't everyone's cup of tea. You might not have had to reckon with that reality amidst the general population. Her voice drops an octave with the last 2 words, affecting deep derision. I know she's exaggerating, but the distinction makes me feel a sense of camaraderie. I may be new here, but I'm not an outsider. Your approach is the norm, if there is one. Here, though, that strategy won't work. You seem to be adapting very well. Hey, I was bound to make some progress. Can't be the awkward new guy forever. No, though you're on pace to set a record. Wow, rude! All the same, now I feel even better about how that chance meeting went. Discussion leads me to the morning I just had, and I'm reminded of my first real conversation with Anna. I'm on a roll and decide to keep talking, even though if I'm just dumping everything that's been on my mind. I had a bit of a breakthrough just earlier today. Oh? Yeah, I took a calculated risk, I guess, and it paid off. I've been trying to talk to this one classmate of mine for the past few days, and I finally figured out a way to do it that works for both of us. Katja praises me, the corner of her lips twitching, with what might be a knowing smile. I wouldn't be surprised if she knew exactly who I was talking about, whether through the school's healthy rumor mill, or just by reading between the lines. I was, as you might say, very insightful. Katya responds to my smirk with a giggle. Very good, Eric. Do tell me more. Well, I think it came down to putting myself in the other person's shoes and thinking about what might make them most comfortable. Indeed, there's asking about sandwiches and there's guessing the right sandwich. Considerably more complicated skill, but one that you seem to be acquiring well. I think I just might be, yeah. I remember the anxiety I felt when I went to Miss Glace was about to scold me. I actually thought I'd screwed up for a minute, but it went better than I expected. Kind of even got praised by the teacher for it. I smile and catch a grin at how obviously pleased with myself I am. Wonderful. Nothing that I can say now would top that. I'm glad you're able to figure out something that worked. Perhaps there is some brain behind that brawn after all. Hey, I told you so. It took some creativity, but yeah, maybe this adjustment period will be over sooner than I thought. From awkward transfer to veritable socialite in mere weeks, I'm sure. You kid, but just wait. You'll see. She laughs, their eyebrows raised, challenging my confidence, and I retaliate with a shrug. Now I notice I've gone through most of my meal talking about myself. I should probably fix that before the entire lunch break's gone. I glance at number 1, 2, and 3 who seem to be engaged in standard classmate small talk. I think back to the conversation I interrupted when I first arrived. You said you had planning to do for the gala. Katja blinks at the sudden gear shifts, but catches on quickly enough with a smirk. But this doesn't have to be a transactional conversation, you know. It's not transactional. I'm really curious. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I spent the whole lunch talking about myself? The usual gentleman, suffice it to say. But yes, the choir has a performance plan for the gala. We're spending much more time in rehearsals the next week. It's going to be very busy until the gala. When are you performing? Sunday? Friday as well, but the Sunday performance is the main event, as it were. It's one of the most ambitious events we have every year, and the coordination it takes is substantial. But it's something we've always been proud of. Most of the school turns up to watch, but given the withdrawn tendency some of them have, that's saying something. She pauses and looks up to one side, unusually pensive. I wait for her to work through her thought, and after a moment she looks back at me. I like to think that it gives everyone a bit of hope for the year. The concept can be so foreign to many of us, and I want to make it familiar. Preparing for the gala puts us under intense pressure, but I feel it's worth it, and I want to lift everyone's spirits. If we, manage to do that, then I can take the heat of the preceding weeks. A little hope could be enough to save someone. For a second I just look at her, not sure how to respond. She's looking at me expectantly though, so I try to come up with something. I've obviously never been to one of those, but I can see how important it would be. And you're right, a little hope can go a long way when someone's at their lowest. You put that much effort into it, I think there's a good chance it's having the intended effect. I know I'm looking forward to seeing. Katja lights up at that last sentence. Oh, excellent. I'm eager to know what you think of it when the time comes. If it's anything like what I saw you do yesterday, I'm sure it'll be great. Thank you. I do want to thank you again for coming to watch, and actually, I want to invite you to see my practices, whenever you'd like. People stop by very occasionally, but never because I'm there. I simply happen to be there at the same time they are. Performing with an attentive audience of even just one makes a big difference. It's especially helpful when the audience can get their thoughts unsullied by musical formalism. More chances to see Katja sing? Your invitation is the choir equivalent of a season pass to the movies. I don't know how much time I'll have in the coming weeks, but setting aside half an hour now and again to sit in Katja's practices is not too shabby an idea for leisure. Okay. One definitely seems a lot more, enthusiastic, which is, yeah, that'd be great. I could use something to unwind. Just let me know when, and I'll make sure to make some time to drop by. Katja gives me a wide smile. Thank you, Eric. I'll keep you informed. In the meantime, you might want to finish up here. Our break is nearing its close. Check my phone. She's right. We used up all but 10 minutes of our lunch. I'd say that was time well spent. I stack my empty plates in the tray and stand up with the elegance of an arthritic man, but that can't be helped. Katja collects her own things and waves goodbye to her friends before giving me one last smile. It's been a pleasant conversation. I look forward to seeing you around at practice. Sure, count on it. See you later. And with that, we make our ways back to our classes. Unsurprisingly, the optimism I held for becoming a focused, motivated student last class has already left, replaced entirely by reruns of my conversations from earlier. On the bright side, humanities are subjective. It's really more about presentation than content, and I figure with a little help from my thesaurus I should have a passable imitation of actual competence. Heading in the direction of my classroom building, I turn my phone over in my pocket and think about the girl who sits next to me. My awkward little interaction with Anna earlier today hadn't seemed too remarkable at the time. Sure, she's quiet. Maybe she doesn't like the sound of her own voice. Her texts are perfectly normal, and reading them you wouldn't think there was anything strange about her. But hearing Miss Clace and Fran talk, you'd think I somehow managed to land a cargo plane blindfolded. Katja seemed to think I was on the right track, at least, and by all appearances, Katja is St. D's leading expert in conversation and social etiquette. I'm left wondering if Anna really is as shy as everyone says, or if they've all jumped to the same conclusion I'd arrived at. What if Anna's introversion is just a self-fulfilling prophecy? It really is just as simple as passing a single note. I almost jump at the sound of the bell, signaling the 5-minute warning for me to get to class. Heading into the building, I join the flow of students in the hall, my mind half on the events of the day. All the same, I can't help but scan the crowded corridor for Anna's trademark headphones, to no avail. I could always text, but suddenly texting anyone before classes start seems pushy? Desperate, even? At the same time, passing notes in class is hardly an ideal solution, either, and from what I can tell, Anna doesn't eat lunch in the cafeteria. Definitely overthinking this now. Overthinking what? Gah! It's a crowded hallway, Eric. Loosen up. Sorry, just hard to notice you down there. Wow, you're going to height shame me? That's low, man. Literally. I'm not. It's fine. You can make it up to me. What are you looking for? Huh? I don't get many sentences out when Irene's around, do I? Don't play dumb. You look like a lost a kid at the mall, but don't want to yell in public. You're like an NPC with a side quest icon. I can't just ignore that, you know? It'd drive me crazy. I'm not an NPC. Whatever helps you sleep, man. Says the literal, actual NPC of this game. As much as I want to complain, Irene might be exactly the person I need right now. Something about this seems wrong, but if it's information I'm after, I can hardly think of someone more likely to know about Anna. Alright, fine. I'm looking for Annalise. Do you know her? Headphones and a hoodie? Irene's posture shifts, her expression falling into something almost disinterested. Annalise Coel. Yes, I know her. Why, what's up? No, nothing's up. I just wanted to get to know her better. Do you know anything about her? I managed to break the ice a little during math, but I don't want to step on any landmines talking to her. All I know is she likes music, but I thought maybe you'd know more, or... Even as I trail off, Irene's features harden. I didn't even know Irene's features could harden, but before I know it, her eyes are locked onto mine, scrutinizing me for whatever unknowable tells. The sound of the crowd seems to fade away. Eric, full disclosure, I think you're a cool guy. At least, I'm pretty sure you are, and I can think I'm a pretty good judge of character. But I'm not perfect, not by a long shot. So if I find out you're being an asshole, and I always find out, then I'm going to make sure everyone in the school hears about it. Not just the students, everyone. Just like that, the intensity vanishes, and sound returns to the hallway. Just the disclosure, you know. So you still want to know about Anna? You know what? I think I'm fine, actually. Annalise Coel, age 18. What? No, damn it! I said I didn't want any help. Obviously, Eric, because if you did, I wouldn't have told you. That's how secret tests of character work. Besides, didn't I just say, I think you're a cool guy? Annalise could use more people like you in her life, and, you know, people willing to put in the effort to get to know her. She eats her lunch in the corner of the cafeteria, by the way, but you should text her and ask her you don't look like a creeper, and buy a headphone splitter. With the last of the crowd disappearing towards their classrooms, Irene adjusts a book bag strap, turning to join her next period, leaving me alone and slightly terrified? Sighing, I turn into my own classroom. A bird is perched on the windowsill, pecking at the dust on the concrete, hopping aimlessly to and fro. Probably noticing me staring at it, it glances back and chirps a note in greeting. It's a bright, beautiful Thursday afternoon. The sky is nothing but a tranquil dome of blue, unmarred by clouds save for the faintest, silkiest wisps in its highest canopies. A warm breeze swirls underneath the trees' golden coats of foliage. The proud oaks and mahoganies that line the school grounds' cobblestone paths shake their tender boughs in the wind's gentle tempo. The bird soon realizes the futility of its search and promptly spreads its wings, taking to the air with not so much as a parting glance. Free, unfettered. How enviable. Meanwhile, I'm here, sitting in a suffocatingly hot classroom, waxing full philosophical as sweat runs in rivers down my face, while having my hair sniffed for some reason I'd really rather not know. Strawberry shampoo? How delicate. Stop sniffing my hair. That's a gift from my grandmother, okay? It'd be rude if I didn't use it even on occasion. On occasion, darling. Your hair has smelled like strawberry since your first day here. Maybe you should try grapefruit or watermelon. Honestly, it's getting boring. Maybe you could just, stop sniffing. Yeah? But where's the fun in that? Come on. Do you have a disorder related to chronic grumpiness? A fox-like smile forms on their lips. Well, I really can't blame you for being bummed, though. I'm a bit disappointed you gave up that fast. What are you talking about now? Da, Annalise, who else? Quiet McQuiet Face. The woman, the legend, and damn it, you were so close too, about this close. Without the slightest warning, their face swoops down on me, their nose grazing mine a second before I recoil out of instinct. I flinch in pain as my head hits the window pane. Ow! What the hell was that for? Don't do that, damn it! That's harassment! They chuckle, then rustle my hair before retreating to their own chair. At least your reflexes aren't shabby, much to my dismay. Their coy smile unwavering, they wink at me, and a cold current shoots up my spine. You shouldn't let it weigh you down, though, okay? Annalise isn't exactly the chatty type, as I said. It's just her thing, I guess. Like how being gorgeous is my thing, and how using girly shampoos is your thing. We're not in a position to judge, is what I'm saying. I groan as my palm meets my face at lightning speed. That said, you should get out of this hellhole. I'm going out for a walk. Care to go? Small rivers of sweat on my face drowns out any objection I had. Without much argument, I mumble my agreement and slowly rise from my chair, holding on to Fran to make sure I don't stumble. There's worse company for a stroll than Fran, I guess. Besides, some fresh air would be good. I'd rather avoid getting roasted alive in this blast furnace of a room. Man, what score did you get on that French quiz? 7 out of 10? Could be worse. Impressive. When do you figure you were going to learn French swear words? I've always wanted to curse in French. Why would you want to learn those? My God, are you hearing yourself? Why wouldn't I want to? It's like slapping someone with a turd pie, except the pie was made by a five-star chef. Thinking better than to continue this obviously pointless conversation, I simply roll my eyes and shift my gaze to the road ahead. Fran garbles on throughout the duration of the walk, leaping from topic to unrelated topic every other second, only pausing on occasion to bark out a laugh at their own latest witticism. So basically like the Tomo Bros, but slightly less pretentious somehow. I sigh in resignation. There's worse company, I repeat to myself. Suddenly, Fran tugs at the hem of my sleeve. I stop in my tracks and turn to them, only to find them with a finger on their lips and their other hand cupped behind an ear. Shh! Hey, you hear that? I look around me, and sure enough, over the rustling sound of leaves, I pick up a small group of voices a short distance away. They're faint, but I can clearly discern the anger in their tone. For any protest can be made, Fran hauls me by the arm off the walkway and toward the direction of those voices. I gulp. There's absolutely no way in hell this is going to be good. We duck behind a bush as we catch a glimpse of a group of girls forming a circle around someone behind the grove. Sorry, eh? You think we're going to let you off with just that, huh, princess? Freakishly tall and sporting a build fit for a rugby player, without even taking into account that frightening, booming voice, the girl who just spoke completely blocked out our view of the latest victim. Bullies? In a school like this? Ava and her lackeys are at it again, eh? Shouldn't we get help? Brenda shrugs. Their face still has a signature air of nonchalance, but I can see streams of sweat crawling down their cheeks already. I think it'll be in our best interest to sod off immediately now. I don't know about you, but my curiosity is satisfied. I'd really rather she doesn't mark me as the one who ratted her out. Bad for business and all. Besides, we don't even know that poor sap. We don't have to. Let's please get along, yes? That's Natalia, isn't it? There's no mistaking that small voice and the thick accent. Even Fran slaps her face in dismay as recognition dawns on them. Well, fuck me and my big mouth. Ava, I did not mean to ruin your phone. Really? You hear that, girls? She didn't mean it. Well, that changes oh now, doesn't it? 600 euros tomorrow morning. Got it? I can't give away that lot of money to a stranger. I'll have to ask my father first. A girl named Ava cuts her off by stomping on the ground. Someone let out a squeak. Let's assume it was Natalia, and totally not me. 600 euro in cash tomorrow morning, or the next little chat we'll be having here wouldn't be ending in just that. I definitely didn't sign up for this. You can tell I can't just sit here watching Natalia being harassed like that. I turn to Fran, who's already frozen to their spot, their face paler than I'd ever seen it before. Let's just say they won't exactly do well as a fount of reasonable advice right now. Oh boy. You know what? I've been going at it a while. I wanted to go to the next scene with Jeanne, but you know what? Clearly this is the cliffhanger that we need. Thanks for watching. As always, the link will be down in the description below, and I am in love with this game. This is so engaging. I am just really, really fascinated by this world and the direction that everything is headed. So, this has been the Hipster Snek, and I'm going to see you guys next time.